Chapter 1. Click. Lin Qingjun pulled out the black sword from the chest of the beautiful woman in front of him. The moment the sword was drawn out, it turned into particles and dissipated. He smiled at the stunning woman and said, "I have already drawn my sword. Shouldn't you repay me with your body?" The woman stood up, stretched her muscles, clenched her fists, and her beautiful face was as cold as an iceberg. He raised his hand and pulled at the void, and the void beside Lin Qingjun was torn open, revealing the long river of time and space. Then he raised his foot and kicked the young man in front of him, who was smiling in a very obscene manner, into his room. After doing all this, the woman's lips curled up in a touching arc. At that moment, it seemed as if the 1,000-year-old iceberg melted and all the flowers lost their color. "Promise yourself to me? That's something you'll have to wait until you're strong enough." Then she stretched out her graceful body. "I don't know how many years it has been, and I am finally free." What the hell? Lin Qingjun sat up from the bed in shock. Then, he looked around blankly. "Well, a few days later, I have almost mastered the knowledge of this world," Lin Qingjun said while sitting in front of the computer. "A few days ago, in my previous life, I had an unexpected dream. Let yourself travel into this world, or on someone who looks exactly like him. The original wife of this body was just a commoner in the class. This world is cruel. Humans occupy 5 cities, each of which is as big as a province. But compared to the Kaiyuan continent, it is just a tiny place. The remaining ones are occupied by strange beasts." Boom, boom, boom. A knock on the door interrupted Lin Qingjun's thoughts. "Son, today is the contract ceremony. Are you ready?" A middle-aged woman pushed the door open and walked in. She looked at Lin Qingjun in front of the computer and frowned, saying, "It's already this late, and you're still playing on the computer? Why don't you pack up and go to school?" This middle-aged woman is Su Zifang, Lin Qingjun's mother. Lin Qingjun's eyes sparkled with excitement. He stood up, put on his school bag and said, "Mom, it's only 6 o'clock now. It's still early." The contract ceremony is something that every student who reaches the age of 17 must attend. When Lin Qingjun went out to the living room, he saw a middle-aged man drinking coffee and reading the latest news from the city defense zone. When people get up now, the first thing they worry about is whether the strange beasts will launch an attack. Lin Xuan looked at his son and said, "Come on, contract a good contract spirit so that you can protect yourself." Lin Qingjun patted his chest and said, "Don't worry, Dad. I will definitely contract a good contract spirit, and then I will protect you." These two parents actually look exactly like my original parents, but the world has changed and everyone has become younger. "I'm going out." Lin Qingjun had a simple breakfast and went out. If it were the original Lin Qingjun, he might have retreated, but he would not, because he died so miserably in his previous life. He raised his head and sighed. "By the way, I am also a time traveler. Why haven't you come yet, system?" Then a crow flew overhead. Shaking my head, I hurried to class. "Come and sit down in your seat." But not long after, a big slap landed on his desk. "Hey, aren't you a college student? Didn't you say you wouldn't come to the contract ceremony? Why are you here again today?" Lin Qingjun looked up and saw 3 young men. The leader of these 3 people is called Li Feng, and the other 2 are his followers Wen Tu and Huang Dong. These 3 people have been against him not only in this life, but also in the previous life. The best way for Lin Qingjun to deal with these people is to ignore them, especially since he was already a working animal in his 20s in his previous life. Wen Tu pointed at Lin Qingjun's nose and said, "TSK, I see. He is clearly afraid that he will become a laughing stock if he summons a D-level contract spirit." No. Huang Dong shook his head and said, "He has clearly become a laughing stock. Ha ha." Facing these people's ridicule and sarcasm, Lin Qingjun just said calmly, "You think you are so great? You are just a contractor with more knowledge than me, but you challenge me. I don't know where you get the nerve to do that. There are no tedious subjects like Chinese, math, and English here, only physical fitness, practical tests, and relevant information about the contractors." However, in terms of physical combat, Lin Qingjun was not at all afraid of these 3 people. Bang! "What did you say?" Li Feng got angry immediately, slammed his hands on the table, and glared at Lin Qingjun. Wen Tu did the same, glaring at Lin Qingjun. This scene also attracted the attention of many people in the class. "Where's your mom? Is she deaf? Or do you want to have a fight?" Lin Qingjun stood up, picked up a chair, and glared back without any courtesy, as if he was ready to hit someone if they disagreed with him. Although he is an old office worker, he is only in his 20s and would get angry when faced with such personal attacks. Just when they were about to fight, the head teacher Zhou Weitao happened to walk in. He immediately shouted, What are you doing? Are you rebelling? Now is the day of the contract ceremony, not the day for you to make trouble. Sit down and be quiet. Zhou Weitao was also a low-level contractor, but his aura was much stronger than that of Lin Qingjun's dean in his previous life. Lin Qingjun put down the chair and sat down. Wait for me after school, kid. Don't run away if you dare. Li Feng snorted and returned to his position with his two followers. Zhou Weitao shook his head. The things that gave him the most headaches in this class were these four people. Quarreling and fighting were commonplace. About 10 minutes passed. After everyone in Zhou Weitao's class had gathered, he said, I will now explain once again the classification and types of contracted spirits. From high to low, D is the lowest and SSS is the highest. Those who successfully contract with B-level or above contract spirits can enter the Contractor Academy for further study. Li Feng raised his hand and said, Teacher, I think Lin Qingjun must have summoned a D-level contract spirit. He is only fit to be a low-level person for the rest of his life. Ha ha ha. His words caused many people in the class to laugh at him. Bang! Zhou Weitao picked up the ruler, knocked on the podium and shouted, Nonsense! Why are you interrupting the teacher while he's teaching? Yes, teacher, I don't dare anymore. Li Feng lowered his head, but his face was full of sarcasm, and he looked at Lin Qingjun from time to time. The latter pouted, thinking that he didn't remember provoking him. So why did he point a gun at him every day? Is this the aura of hatred for the pig's feet? It's really powerful. Ahem. Zhou Weitao cleared his throat and said, Next, let's talk about the types of contracted spirits. There are many types of contracted spirits, but they can be roughly divided into three types. The first type is weapon soul, which is a weapon with intelligence, or a tool, furniture, etc. The second type is beasts, which include many kinds. Some have extremely powerful bloodlines of divine beasts. The higher their level, the more potential they have to revert to becoming divine beasts. The third type is humanoid. This is much simpler. In the simple sense, some are ancient strong men who are immortal and have been contracted by you. Some are strong men from other worlds, and some are just trash who died tragically. But the contracted type, there are very few human-shaped people. Most people make contracts with weapon spirits and beasts. What's more important is that the contracted spirits you summon each have unique attributes, and after sharing with the master, they become supernatural powers in our hands. As Zhou Weitao spoke, he waved his hand and a ball of light appeared on his palm. This is a superpower, which is called an attribute in a contracted spirit. Unfortunately, although the teacher's superpower is light-related, the level of the contracted spirit is not high, so the superpower is greatly restricted. Ding ding ding, just as he was lamenting his own shortcomings, a bell rang. Zhou Weitao shouted, The contract ceremony has begun. Everyone line up in the corridor. Yes. All the students stood up and rushed out of the classroom excitedly and nervously. Chapter 2. Follow the team to the square. There are 5 summoning arrays in front of the square, and there is a machine next to it to detect the level of the contracted spirits. They came to the summoning circle belonging to their class, waiting for the summoning ceremony to begin. After all the classes arrived, the principal came to the podium and began his passionate speech. Since the birth of human beings, we have been fighting with alien beasts. The alien beasts regard us as blood food. Although they are very powerful, we humans are not easy to bully. After so many years of development, we humans have finally achieved success in this Kaiyuan era. They have taken up a place on the continent, namely these 5 cities. The most important force for us to fight against the alien beasts is the contractors. Behind me is the summoning circle, which can summon your contracted spirit. Anyone who summons a C-level contract spirit can go to the Contractor Academy for further study and become an important force in resisting alien beasts. Good. Pa pa pa, the students and mentors below applauded. But only Lin Qingjun seemed absent-minded. What he was thinking about at the moment was that the conditions for admission to the hospital had been lowered again. In the past, only B-level contracted spirits could go there. This year, it was downgraded to a lower level. Logically, this means that humans have made progress in resisting alien beasts and have gained more resources. But is this really the case? Lin Qingjun couldn't figure it out, so he stopped thinking about it and prayed in his heart that he could summon a contracted spirit above level B. Only powerful contracted spirits can have a chance of survival in this place. In front, Li Feng felt disgusted when he saw Lin Qingjun's absent-minded look. All right. The principal pressed his hand and said, The contract ceremony is now officially underway. Watching these people proceed in an orderly manner, they began to summon. The principal nodded and went backstage. The vice principal came forward and said, Principal, why are the admission standards lowered again? Shouldn't we concentrate our resources now? The principal shook his head and sighed. I don't know, but I heard that a large number of people who went out of the city to open up Wasteland died. These people should be pulled in to fill the gap. But don't worry, the city lord is here. As long as the city lord is here, one day, our Weiqing will not disappear. The vice principal nodded and looked towards the summoning circle without saying anything else. The city lord should be the lord of the 5 cities, is one of the strongest beings among humans. Lin Qingjun and the team looked at the person in front who was preparing to start summoning and saw how he did it. In front of the summoning circle is a woman named Wang Dandan. The staff next to him handed over a ball to summon the fairway. Hold the ball tightly with both hands, then relax and don't be nervous. Wang Dandan nodded, held the summoning ball, and closed her eyes. Soon, the summoning ball responded and lit up. Then it connected to the summoning circle and a light came on. Soon, the light disappeared, revealing the creature inside. Oomph! A pig squealed. Wang Dandan opened her eyes, and when she saw the creature in front of her, she couldn't help but stand there in a daze. Hello everyone, my name is Little Pink Pig. Look, I know how to be smart. A girl's voice sounded. Lin Qingjun in the back was also stunned. Oh my god, Peppa Pig? This thing can be summoned? That's awesome. That's right. Standing in the center of the summoning circle is a pink pig that looks exactly like Peppa Pig. It can walk on 2 legs and talk. Let's test its level quickly. The staff member next to him urged. There is no animation in this world, and television is used to report on the actual situation in various regions. There are very few animals that can talk, so they thought Peppa Pig might have great potential. Oh, Wang Dandan ordered Peppa Pig to come to the machine. After an investigation by the staff, the machine was rated as D. Well, it was all for nothing. Wang Dandan knew that she had no chance to meet the contractor and left in disappointment. Peppa Pig followed behind. Master, do you want to step on the mud puddle? It's fun. Everyone around couldn't help, but almost laughed out loud. After this little episode, the summoning continued. After a while, in front of the central summoning array, a staff member held up a list and said, Li Tai-bai? Yes, I am. A very handsome boy smiled and nodded, saying, Teacher, give me the summoning ball. Watch me summon a super invincible and awesome contracted spirit. The staff member didn't waste any time and handed the summoning ball over. Li Tai-bai grabbed the summoning ball with one hand, closed his eyes, and grinned. Looks very cool and stylish. Buzz. As the summoning ball and summoning circle lit up white light, the sound of a sword echoed throughout the square. At this time, all the teachers and students in the school turned their eyes over. Lin Qingjun also looked over there. Then, the light on the summoning circle dissipated, and a sword was inserted in the center of the summoning circle, with the sword halfway in. Then a handsome young man walked forward confidently, pulled out the sword, and then swung it in a showy manner. After coming to the machine and testing it, it was finally rated as SS grade. SS level. There is actually an SS level genius in our school. The principal in the backstage looked at Li Bai and smiled. Isn't this the young master of the Li Family Chamber of Commerce? Now that they have an SS level genius, their status will probably rise a lot. Wow, isn't that Li Tai-bai from class 11? Not only is he handsome, he's also very talented. Yes, it's a weapon soul contract spirit, and it's a sword-shaped one, which is the type with the highest damage. As long as it doesn't die, it will definitely become a peerless master in the future. The 2 girls in front of Lin Qingjun were talking in low voices. He heard every word. Li Tai-bai, this shouldn't be the old Li from my original world, right? If it were, he would have definitely come up with some poems just now. Ah! However, at this moment, a loud laugh sounded in front. Lin Qingjun turned around and saw that it was Li Feng, and in front of him stood a red King Kong in the summoning circle. He is nearly 2 meters tall, with explosive muscles. Li Feng laughed and said, A-level violent fire apes not only have violent special skills, but also fire-related abilities. Coupled with the beast contract spirit, their physical strength far exceeds that of others. I am not afraid of fighting against S-level geniuses. Fear. As he said this, he looked at Lin Qingjun behind the crowd, smiled contemptuously, and walked to the team that met the standards for entering the contract academy. As time went by, there was no one else in the square except Lin Qingjun. Because he had the most students in his class, and Lin Qingjun was standing at the back, he was the only one left in the room. Lin Qingjun looked around and almost everyone's eyes were on him. This situation of being the focus of everyone's attention made him very unhappy. When we arrived in front of the summoning array, the staff handed over a summoning ball and said, "Relax, don't be nervous." Lin Qingjun nodded, held the summoning ball, and closed his eyes. As the summoning ball and summoning circle light up, in a dark starry sky, a beast that looked like a tiger, with long white hair and 18 huge blue iron chains on its back was gnawing at a giant dragon as big as several mountains. When the strange beast swallowed the dragon ball into its stomach, a white light suddenly appeared under its feet. The strange beast realized something was wrong and wanted to escape, but found that it could not. Roar! It roared, This is a master-servant summoning array. What level is it? I can't even break free." As the figure fell, its body shrank rapidly, finally becoming twice the size of an ordinary wild wolf, and then disappeared. When it reappeared, it found itself in a human square. It first looked around, then looked at the familiar figure in front of it. Then, an inexplicable force pressed down on it, and the body of the strange beast suddenly changed into that of a young girl in a simple light blue dress, with long ice blue hair draped behind her back. A standard oval face, very delicate facial features, and icy vertical pupils. The whole person looks like a fairy who is not tainted by the mundane world. She lowered her head, bent her body slightly, and said unwillingly, "I, the Emperor of Time, have seen me, my lord." When she looked up, she saw a young man who looked a little handsome but had three-dimensional features and was unforgettable at first sight standing in front of her. When the two saw each other's faces clearly, their faces became stunned at the same time. They said in unison, "It's you, X2-inch." Chapter 3. A few days ago, Lin Qingjun traveled through time for a reason. The reason for this has to start from a few nights ago. Lin Qingjun returned to his room and fell asleep immediately. And it was at this time that he had a strange dream. In his dream, he came to the center of a palace that was completely destroyed. But one can vaguely feel that this palace was very magnificent in the past. In front of Lin Qingjun, there was a stunningly beautiful woman nailed to the throne of the palace with a sword. The 18 iron chains behind her were also nailed down. And that woman was the Time Emperor summoned by Lin Qingjun. Emperor Shi looked at Lin Qingjun in the center of the palace and said excitedly, "Human boy, hurry up and pull out these swords." She was imprisoned in the palace for who knows how many years. Someone actually came here today, so she naturally would not waste the opportunity to regain her freedom. Lin Qingjun frowned and asked, "Who are you? Why are you nailed here?" Snort. Shi groaned and said unhappily, "It was my damn sister who forced me to go to work. I refused and ran away secretly. Then she beat me and nailed me here. I can't move. I've been going crazy all these years." The corner of Lin Qingjun's mouth twitched. Wow, sisters are fighting each other. But this is also cruel enough, nailing his own sister to the ground. However, for this 20-year-old young man, he did not feel that this was a temptation at all. Then, with a good mentality, he pulled out the swords. After that, Dee suddenly jumped up and kicked Lin Qingjun away. Lin Qingjun only had time to shout F***K before he woke up. "When I woke up, I found myself traveling through time." If this thing hadn't really happened to him, he would never have believed it if someone told him about it. "Why are you here?" Lin Qingjun asked doubtfully. "Also, I am kind-hearted." Just as he said a few words, Emperor Shi stepped forward and blocked his mouth. Emperor Shi used the thoughts within the contract to convey the message to Lin Qingjun. "My lord, you cannot tell anyone about this time travel. If you tell anyone, it will be a taboo, and you will be killed by the people of my clan." Lin Qingjun nodded and said, "Then how did you get here again?" Speaking of this, Emperor Shi's eyes turned fierce. He glared at Lin Qingjun, turned his head away, and said nothing. She finally regained her freedom, but she was summoned here after only a few days of enjoyment. On the other side, the principal, Wang Yun, looked at Lin Qingjun with some excitement and said, "It is a humanoid contract spirit, a humanoid. If it is summoned with an ancient power, then we will have another peerless genius." The vice principal, Jiang Wenhe, shook his head and said, "No, wasn't the contracted spirit of the student before the principal transformed from a strange giant beast? Perhaps this could be a beast-type contracted spirit." "Indeed." Wang Yun nodded and said, "But no matter what, this contracted spirit is very extraordinary. Let's go and ask." After saying that, the two walked towards Lin Qingjun. The students on the other two sides all burst into uproar. A humanoid contract spirit? This is a very rare contract spirit. If she was an ancient powerful being, Lin Qingjun would definitely take off. Some people were amazed. while others said, "No way, at the beginning this contracted spirit was still in the form of a beast. Wait, a beast form? And now it's such a beautiful human girl. TSK. Doesn't that mean he can ride a beast?" Someone had a strange expression and made an unpleasant laugh. "Hey." The female students looked down on him. "What are you guys thinking about? So dirty." There was also a scholar who said, "This kind of thing has happened in history. Someone even married a humanoid contracted spirit, and the master was a woman." At the same time, Lin Qingjun brought Di to the tester. When the levels were about to be checked, the two principals came over. "Wait a minute, this is not how you test a humanoid contract spirit. You won't get any results if you test it this way," Wang Yun said. "Principal, how do we test it?" Lin Qingjun was confused. They all tested in this way. Was he going to be an exception? Zhang Wenhe smiled and said, "Humanoid contract spirits are different from other contract spirits. Humanoid contract spirits are actually the residual souls left by dead humans, and then they are summoned. They may retain their memories, or they may not. This instrument is not intended for human testing." Lin Qingjun nodded. "So that's how it is." At this moment, the Emperor of Time beside him raised his chin and said, "Don't lower my status by calling me inferior. I am a member of the giant beast race of space and time, and I control the order of space and time, and I am above all other races, and I have the superior bloodline of the space-time giant beasts, and I am the queen of the space-time giant beasts." Lin Qingjun picked his nose and said, "That's because I contracted you to come here." "You?" Di was choked by these words, but because of the contract, she could not have the slightest intention of killing Lin Qingjun. All right. Wang Yun came out and said, "Whether you are human or not, you are a human now, and the best way to test a humanoid contract spirit is to ask." He looked at Di and said, "Let me ask you, do you still remember the method of cultivation?" The Emperor raised his chin and said proudly, "Call me your highness. And why should I answer you?" Wang Yun and others couldn't help but feel ashamed. This kind of thing is the most difficult to deal with. The two principals looked at each other. Zhang Wenhe walked out and winked at Lin Qingjun. The latter was not stupid and immediately guessed what the two principals were trying to say. He looked at Di and said tentatively, "Answer the two principals." The Emperor shook his head and struggled for a moment before saying, "I will obey, my lord." Lin Qingjun was a little surprised. This contract was a little too overbearing. Didn't it mean that there was no way to resist no matter what you did? Zhang Wenhe said, "Your Highness, how much do you still know about your previous cultivation or memories of your previous life?" The Emperor of Time snorted in dissatisfaction and said, "I was having a feast not long ago, but now I have been summoned. My memory has not changed at all." The two principals looked at each other and could see the excitement in each other's eyes. What does this represent? The memory is not lost, coupled with this speaking attitude and the key information in the previous words. It is certain that this person is most likely a powerful person. Wang Yun suppressed his excitement and asked, "What about your Highness's strength?" Emperor Shi looked at Lin Qingjun and said, "Before I was summoned, I was very strong, but now I am not even as strong as the dust on the ground compared to before." Lin Qingjun whistled and looked at the sky, looking as if it had nothing to do with him. This is not his fault. The one who should be blamed is Emperor Shi himself. "Your Highness, what special power do you have? Or what can you do?" The Emperor of Time said, "I am the Emperor of Time, one of the 3 female emperors of the sacred beasts of time and space. Naturally, I have the ability of time and space." Chapter 4. What? Space-time ability? Everyone present was shocked when these words were spoken. Time is supreme, space is king, and time and space are a combination of the two, but they are superior to both. Can we get a grasp of it? Verify the correctness of things, Wang Yun said. The Emperor snorted. "Who am I? Why should I show myself to you? Don't give me orders." Several people couldn't help but hold their foreheads. It came again. Wang Yun shook his head, looked at Lin Qingjun and said, "Show me." The latter pointed at himself and said, "Me? How can I show it? I don't know how to do it." Wang Yun patiently explained, "Calm down. The supernatural power will be engraved in the body's instincts after summoning the contract spirit." Lin Qingjun nodded and let out a breath. "Try to sense it, and soon he will be able to feel it." At this moment, he felt that the passage of time around him had stopped. I scratched my head. How should I show it? Suddenly, he saw the glasses Zhang Wenhe was wearing, and he stepped forward and took them off. Back to the original position, the surrounding time returned to normal. At this time, in the central city lord's mansion of Wei City, The deputy city lord who was handling official business paused. He could feel that the timeline had been moved. Beep, beep, beep. The strange watch on his wrist also made a sound. Then he stood up and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Wang Yun looked at the glasses in Lin Qingjun's hand. These glasses just appeared suddenly. What's going on? Why am I suddenly dazzled? At this time, Zhang Wenhe looked around in confusion. Wang Yun was shocked. It was clear that Lao Zhang's glasses were still on his face. And then just as suddenly it disappeared. Wang Yun looked at Lin Qingjun and said, "Very good. This is indeed a time-space ability. Taking objects from another timeline. What else could this be except a time-space ability? The time power can't do it either. The time power is to control the passage of time, fast or slow. The ability to travel freely in a timeline is what allows you to do that." Lin Qingjun suppressed his excitement and asked, "Then what is the level of my contracted spirit, principal?" He felt that the level of his contracted spirit was definitely not low. Just as Wang Yun was replying, a calm voice sounded beside Lin Qingjun. "It's this grade." Lin Qingjun turned around and was almost frightened, because a middle-aged man appeared next to him without anyone noticing. F***K, who are you? Just as he was shocked, everyone in the college square bowed to the middle-aged man at the same time. "Hello, Deputy City Lord." Lin Qingjun's eyes widened, and cold sweat broke out. He actually cursed at the Deputy City Lord. "Hello, City Lord." When he stood up and was about to salute the Deputy City Lord, he suddenly found that he could not move. My heart skipped a beat, wondering if the Deputy City Lord was going to do anything bad to me. The City Lord smiled gently and said, "Everyone, don't be so polite. Let's all get up." The City Lord looked at Lin Qingjun in front of him with a look of satisfaction. "Deputy City Lord, what are you talking about? Considering your contribution to Wei City, we have to do this," Principal Wang Yun said. The Deputy City Lord waved his hand and looked at Lin Qingjun and said, "What's wrong with this little guy? I feel like the timeline has been moved." "Yes," Wang Yun reported. "This student is called Lin Qingjun. He just summoned a beast-type contract spirit, but for some reason he also summoned a human-type contract spirit. After our negotiation, we found out that this contract spirit can control the power of time and space, and also keep the memory." The Deputy City Lord nodded and looked at Emperor Shi, who was next to Lin Qingjun. The latter also looked at him, his eyes as clear as autumn water flashing with vigilance. "Time. I didn't expect that someone here actually has mastered the laws of time, but it seems that it is not complete. Time." Lin Qingjun was also surprised. He only investigated the information of this world. As for the big guys like the City Lord, he had not had time to investigate. The Deputy City Lord laughed and said, "Not bad, not bad. The little girl has good eyesight. She is indeed a contracted spirit that has mastered the power of time and space. I do have the power of time, but my power is all dependent on this watch." Lin Qingjun looked at the watch on the Deputy City Lord's hand. This should be a contracted spirit, but his heart was lifted the next second. "Humph! How dare an inferior race speak to me like this? I have lived for countless years and have seen countless universes from birth to fall, and you dare to call me a girl?" The Emperor frowned slightly and said with disdain, F***K, you don't want to live, but I do. He's the City Lord." Lin Qingjun grabbed Shidi's hand and said in panic, "No matter how powerful you were before, you have no power now. Can't you just be quiet?" Shidi looked at Lin Qingjun fiercely. Because of the contract, she couldn't have the intention to kill him, not even the anger towards him. "My lord, even though I have no power, what does it matter? They cannot kill me. Sister, please talk less." Lin Qingjun was really panicked and looked at the Deputy City Lord from time to time. The latter's expression remained the same without a trace of anger. "Haha, that's Lin Qingjun, right? Your contracted spirit really has a personality." "I'm sorry, City Lord. I will discipline him strictly when I return," Lin Qingjun said apologetically. The Deputy City Lord waved his hand and said, "Alas, no. You have to build a good relationship with the contracted spirit to maximize your strength. It is wrong to give your anger to the contracted spirit. Besides, I am not so petty." Lin Qingjun scratched his head and smiled embarrassedly. "Is that so?" The Deputy City Lord checked the time and looked at Lin Qingjun and said seriously, "Xiao Lin, are you interested in being my apprentice?" Wow! The whole audience was in an uproar. The Deputy City Lord is a powerful person second only to the City Lord, and he actually wants to accept Lin Qingjun as his apprentice? Moreover, the Deputy City Lord is one of the top powerful people in the entire Kaiyuan continent. And such a powerful person actually wants to take an unknown student as his apprentice. In the crowd, Li Feng looked at Lin Qingjun's figure with envy in his eyes. SSS level contracted spirit. I have the qualifications. Just when Lin Qingjun was about to agree, the Emperor Shi beside him spoke first. My lord, how could I possibly take a teacher from a lower race like you? I can teach my lord well, and even achieve more than you in the future. What Emperor Shi was thinking at this moment was that she, the Empress of a super race, had inexplicably become a contracted spirit of a human. That's fine, but another inferior race that has reached the upper limit wants to be my lord's master. Isn't that another person stepping on her head? This is intolerable. How can it be intolerable? Above him there is only my lord. Yes, there is only my lord above him. Just when everyone thought that the deputy city lord was sighing in disappointment or anger, the deputy city lord nodded and said, Indeed, you have mastered the power of space and time, while I have mastered the power of time, so they are totally incompatible. Moreover, you may be an ancient power, and I really can't compare with you. Everyone opened their mouths slightly, and actually agreed. The deputy city lord looked at Lin Qingjun and said, My child, your future may be even stronger than mine. I hope you can grow up as soon as possible and become an important pillar of humanity. After saying this, he disappeared without giving Lin Qingjun a chance to reply. After the deputy city lord left, the atmosphere around me felt much more relaxed. Although the deputy city lord looked like a gentle uncle, he still brought considerable pressure to everyone. Wang Yan stepped forward and said, Okay, go stay with the contractor team. Lin Qingjun nodded and walked forward with Shi. Along the way, people around them gave way to them intentionally or unintentionally. Lin Qingjun came to his class and stood in his seat. He looked around. The representatives standing here are all people who have summoned contracted spirits of level C or above. It accounts for 1/3 of the entire school. If you remove the C level, it will be reduced by half. There are very few powerful contracted spirits. Principal Wang Yun gave a speech on the stage, then asked those in grade C to stay and let the rest go. Although Lin Qingjun was confused, his good mood after school far outweighed his doubts. He ran to the classroom like crazy. Chapter 5. Ha ha ha, school is over. Let's go home and eat. Lin Qingjun swung the corner of his clothes and ran towards the classroom happily. Seeing Lin Qingjun like this, Emperor Shi couldn't help but feel puzzled and fell into deep suspicion. But there was nothing I could do but obey. Shi followed behind Lin Qingjun, looking around at the other people's contracted spirits. He kept murmuring, What's going on? What's going on? At this moment, Lin Qingjun was sorting out the things in the drawer. All these things need to be taken back, and then we will rest for 10 days before returning to school and going to the contract academy with everyone else. It didn't take long for him to pack all the things into his school bag. However, when he looked up, he saw Li Feng and the other two standing in front of him. Lin Qingjun frowned and asked, Why? Are we going to have a fight in the open space behind the school? No. Li Feng shook his head and said, In the past, I saw you turning a deaf ear to these things and just being an idle fish. I thought you were afraid of the beasts, so I looked down on you from the bottom of my heart. Lin Qingjun's mouth twitched when he heard this. Oh boy, so this is why you are going against me. However, Lin Qingjun was originally afraid of strange beasts. But now, you have summoned an SSS-level contract spirit, which has made me look at you and even admire you again. I am here to apologize. As he said this, he actually bent down 90 degrees towards Lin Qingjun. Cut. Lin Qingjun stood up, put his school bag on one shoulder, walked to his side and said, I won't accept your apology. It's not time to clear your name. After saying that, he left. Shi followed Lin Qingjun all the time and ignored everyone except Lin Qingjun. When I walked all the way to the school gate, I saw Li Bai leaning against the wall with a quilt on one shoulder and a sword in his arms. Coupled with his handsome looks, he always gets the attention of people. When he saw Lin Qingjun, he walked straight towards him. Lin Qingjun also noticed Li Bai coming. F***K. Why is this 13th king walking towards me? Lin Qingjun didn't want to have anything to do with Li Bai. According to the routine in the novel, it means declaring war on him or bragging to him. Lin Qingjun wanted to avoid him, but when he looked up, Li Bai had already come to him and grinned. Hi, hello brother. My name is Li Bai. My name is... Lin Qingjun interrupted with a twitch of his mouth. Who is your brother? We are students. We should be called classmates. Hey, it's all the same. After we graduate from the contractor academy, we'll be brothers in life and death. Li Bai stepped forward and asked, Let's go together? Lin Qingjun nodded and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. I'm not here to cause trouble. But think about it. He is only 17 years old. How could he have so many little tricks? Moreover, there are not many monsters who play that kind of tricks. The three of them walked and chatted. Li Taibai glanced at Shitty next to Lin Qingjun and said, "Good fellow. Others summon contracted spirits, but you directly summon your wife." When the emperor heard this, he already had murderous intentions towards Li Bai in his heart, although he could not harbor any murderous intent or anger towards Lin Qingjun. But it's different for others. In the past, I would crush countless ants with one foot. Lin Qingjun almost choked at these words. No, how could this be my wife? Looking at the sure emperor beside him, he said, Look, the waist is straight, not warped or protruding. What are the advantages? Apart from the face, there are no other features, and more importantly, bang 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 as he spoke, he reached out and patted Shirdi's chest a few times, making a crisp knocking sound. Listen, there is no information at all. What's the advantage? Lin Qingjun pointed at Shirdi and said with a speechless expression. Emperor Shi blushed in a very rare way. He looked down and saw not only his toes, but also his thighs. But clenching both fists, revenge, definitely revenge. If there was no contract, she would not be blushing, but angry, with murderous intent directly materialized. Li Taibai felt ashamed in his heart. These words must hurt people's self-esteem. By the way, your sword. Lin Qingjun looked at the sword in his arms. Hey, handsome, I have practiced swords since I was a child, and my family also practiced swords, and today I lived up to my trust and summoned the SS-level greatsword Wan Shangfeng. And I can tell you, according to the family information, there is no difference between SS level and SSS level. Li Taibai looked around, then whispered into Lin Qingjun's ear. The latter was startled and covered his mouth without shouting. No, and also, can I listen to this? Hey, actually, there's nothing you can't listen to. It's just what my adults always say. They say that the difference between the SS level and the SSS level is that the latter is stronger in terms of overall strength. If you want to surpass the SS level, you have to look at the effort. Li Taibai smiled and said, Oh, my family is here to pick me up. Bye. Lin Qingjun watched Li Taibai get into a luxury carriage. No one in this world studies the rich man's gadget called sports car, because the focus of research is on resisting alien beasts. However, there are still armored vehicles for leaving the city. Scratching his head, he walked back home. Mom, I'm back. Su Zifeng replied in the kitchen. Okay, you go back to your room first, and then we'll talk about the situation at school after I prepare dinner. Your brother will be back later. Huh, brother is coming back too? Doesn't he only come back a few times a year? Will he come back today? Lin Qingjun said in surprise. Nonsense, your brother is celebrating his 29th birthday this year. Can he not come back? Also, he was busy at that time. He came back several times a year, and when he was not busy, he was on vacation. Go back to your room first, and then tell us about your summons. What kind of contract spirit? Su Zifeng stopped replying after speaking. 29. This age in this world is equivalent to 19 years old in Lin Qingjun's world. Because the average age of people in this world is over 120, and they are in great shape. When Lin Qingjun heard this, he looked at the Emperor of Time beside him. How to explain it? And her attitude. Shaking his head, he took Emperor Shi back to his room. Throwing away his school bag, he looked at Shirdi and said, Can you transform into the beast form you had before? The latter shook his head and said, My lord, I am not a tool. Changes are all up to my heart. Puff. It all depends on God's will. To put it bluntly, he just doesn't want to change. He scratched his head and said, Then you can talk to me like this when you talk to my parents? He was really afraid that when the time came, this woman would say, You inferior race, how dare you speak to me like this? Emperor Shi held his head in his hands and shook it for a while before saying, Listen, my lord. When Lin Qingjun looked at her like this, he could tell that she was fighting against the contract. Chapter 6. Lin Qingjun scratched his head, not knowing what to say. As soon as I turned around, I felt a chill on my back. Turning suddenly, Shirdi pounced on him and pressed Lin Qingjun to the ground. Bang! F***K. What are you doing? Are you going to kill the master? There was disbelief in Lin Qingjun's eyes, because after his investigation, he found that contracts were very powerful, and no contract spirit in history had ever been able to break through the restrictions of a contract. At this moment, Shitty's eyes were filled with a hint of murderous intent. What else could this be but a breach of the contract? Emperor Shi looked at him indifferently, the same look he gave him in the hall a few days ago. There was absolutely no emotion at all, which made him very unhappy. I ask, Master, why did you summon me here and sign such an overbearing master-servant contract? It's unfair. Emperor Shi held Lin Qingjun's hands and brought his beautiful face closer to them, less than 5 centimeters away, and said, I have been trapped for who knows how many years, and now I have just been freed and summoned by the Lord to sign a contract, or such a high-level contract, but the contracts I manage for others are all low-level. Tisk, Lin Qingjun sighed. He was uncomfortable with this look. If you were still strong before, he could have bowed down to you. But now your strength is almost the same as his. Why should he bow down to you? Thinking of this, he suddenly jumped up, turned over, and pressed Shi under him. He said in a deep voice, I was going to say something to you. I was having fun in the original world, but suddenly I appeared there. I helped you get the sword out, and you were free. But what about me? I was kicked by you. In this world full of dangers, if a super beast tide comes one day, I won't know how I died. When the emperor heard this, he turned his head away and pursed his lips without saying anything. It was her fault. She was not right in the first place. Looking at the emperor of time under him, he leaned close to her ear and said, Now our lives are like grasshoppers tied to a rope. You were a super powerful being not long ago, and I am just an ant. But to survive in this world, you must become stronger. Lin Qingjun still had the urge to go back, even though the family here was the same as his family in the other world and was much younger, but family in any world is still family. Just as Shi was about to speak, the door opened with a click. A beam of light and a shadow came in. Lin Qingjun looked up and saw his mother standing at the door, staring blankly at himself and Shi lying on the ground. Oh hoo-hoo, suddenly, Su Zifang covered his mouth with one hand and laughed. It seems that my son has grown up and has brought his girlfriend here. Having said that, he closed the door. No, Mom, it's not what you think. Lin Qingjun quickly got up and chased after him. He opened the door and shouted, Mom, can you let me make myself clear? Su Zifang didn't listen, but came to the sofa and said to Lin's father, Dad, Junjun is getting more and more promising, and there is a very beautiful little girl singing in the room. Lin Chuan looked behind him with a serious look, staring at Lin Qingjun and said, Son, is this true? Explain it to me clearly. How can this be false? I saw it with my own eyes and heard it with my own ears. Su Zifang said. Lin Qingjun had a frown on his forehead. Just when he was about to explain, Shi came out from behind him and looked around. How do you explain this? Lin Qingjun's face was dark. Why did he feel more and more confused the more he talked? After Lin Qingjun had some conversation, he finally made it clear that the Emperor of Time was his contracted spirit. Son, you said this beautiful girl is your contracted spirit? Su Zifang raised his hand and tapped Shi's delicate face with his index finger. Yeah, that's right. Lin Qingjun nodded, but when he saw Shi gradually raising his chin, he felt something was wrong and glared at Shi. She didn't say anything that was so childish and shocking. Ha ha ha, isn't it good? It's humanoid, but very rare. Lin Chuan patted his son's shoulder and said with a smile. Su Zifang nodded. He is indeed very good, much better than your brother. He is already 29 years old and has not brought a woman home. Next time, I will not let him enter the house unless he brings a woman home. Mom, who are you not letting into the house? At this time, a handsome young man who looked 80% similar to the 3 people in the room pushed the door open. Swish, Su Zifang pounced on his eldest son with a whoosh, then looked back. In the end, no one was seen. He sniffed it on his son again. There was nothing but the smell of sweat, and his face immediately changed from welcoming to disgusting. You still remember to come back? What time is it? The food is cold. Then he walked towards the dining table. The eldest son Lin Qingjun scratched his head and smiled. I suddenly received a mission while on the way, so I'm here now. Yo bro. Lin Qingjun came forward and greeted him. Haha, long time no see, you have grown up a bit. Lin Qingjun smiled and took Lin Qingjun into his arms and ravaged him. Suddenly, a stunning young girl with her arms folded across her chest stood in front of him. Huh, is this your girlfriend? Not bad, you brought her home. Hearing this, Lin Qingjun frowned again. Is there no normal relationship between men and women? Why did he say she was his girlfriend when they just met? He broke free from his restraints, came to the side of the Emperor of Time, patted her shoulder and said, She is my contracted spirit. There is no impure fantasy in a normal relationship. Besides, she and I are brothers. As he spoke, he patted Shi's chest a few times, making a loud thumping sound. Did you hear me? I'm calling you brother. Emperor sure glanced at Lin Qingjun in shame and anger, then lowered his head to look down. Can you blame her? She has been here for so many years, and she hasn't gained any weight. Ha ha ha, indeed. Those who are A and B are all brothers. Only those who are above D are the true ones. Lin Qingyang and Lin Qingjun sat down at the table arm in arm to play cards. Lin Xuan picked up a bottle of white wine and said with a smile, I'm not happy today if I drink. Lin Qingyang shook his head and said, we have to leave tonight. We still have a mission to complete. Drinking will only delay our work. Tisk, he's been gone for 5 years and has only been home no more than 20 times. The Yuqing guards are really troublesome. Lin Xuan took a sip of wine and said, it's better to work in the mercenary group like me. By the way, Jun, the contract academy will start in 10 days. Come with me to work in the mercenary group for the next 10 days. Go out of the city to hunt exotic animals. Hey! Hearing this, Su Zifang came out without waiting for Lin Qingjun to speak, slammed the bowl in his hand heavily on the table, stared at Lin Xuan and said, your son just summoned the contract spirit, and you let him leave the city? You are confused before you even drink. Bar. Lin Xuan scratched the back of his head and smiled awkwardly. I was just joking. Snort. Su Zifang took a pair of bowl and chopsticks and handed them to Shirdi. The latter just took a look and didn't answer it. 2 iron chains appeared behind him, picking up the dishes and then putting them down. He glanced at the sumptuous dinner on the table, snorted, and said, there is no blue dragon flesh and blood. How can I eat it? Cough, cough, cough. Lin Qingjun almost choked on his food. Sanglong? Isn't that a mythical beast? Su Zifang was not annoyed and patiently guided Shirdi to eat. Lin Qingyang looked at Shidi, then looked at Lin Qingjun and said, brother, what level is your contracted spirit? It's a rare humanoid, so it should be a level. A level? Hee hee. Lin Qingjun chuckled and said, brother, you underestimate me. I'm SSS level. Puffed. What did you say? When these words were spoken, several people were almost choked. After realizing what was going on, Lin Xuan laughed and said, great, great. My son is promising. He is much more promising than me as his father. Su Zifang looked at the young girl in front of him, and there was even more satisfaction in his eyes. Chapter 7. Lin Qingjun said, brother, dad, mom, you haven't told me about your contracted spirits yet? You didn't tell me for so many years. He did not find any information about the levels or introduction of the 3 contracted spirits from the fragmentary memories of the original owner of this body. Su Zifang smiled and said, me? I am a B-level weapon soul contract spirit, Chui Yuqin, a healing type. Lin Xuan took a sip of wine and said, my contracted spirit is a B-level copper-armored black turtle, a defensive beast-type contracted spirit. Alas, although my copper-armored black turtle has the blood of the black tortoise and can evolve, the things that can improve my contracted spirit bloodline are very expensive, so I gave up on it to save money. Dad, aren't you the leader of a mercenary group? Don't you make a lot of money? Lin Qingjun asked curiously. Lin Xuan glanced at him and found that his second son was just talking about things that were not related to the topic. Although I am the leader, I formed this group with a few friends, and we dare not go too deep into places too far from the city. We are not strong enough. Haha, don't we still have me and my little brother? And my little brother's future is limitless. Lin Qingjun felt a little embarrassed by what he said. By the way, brother, what supernatural power do you have? It must be extraordinary to be rated SSS level. Lin Qingyang said. Lin Qingjun nodded and said, my special ability is time and space. Puff. Hearing this, the 3 of them almost choked again. But when I think about it being an SSS contracted spirit, it makes sense. Lin Qingjun sighed again and said, but it seems that I can only move within the future and the past 5 minutes. Several people were chatting while eating dinner. Su Zifang sat next to Emperor Shi and said, why don't you eat the food? It will get cold if you don't eat it now. The emperor snorted and said, I will not eat these simple meals. Su Zifang looked at the dishes on the table. Simple food? Isn't it quite rich? But considering that he is a humanoid contracted spirit, it makes sense. Just a little bit, just a sip. Su Zifang held a chicken leg and placed it in front of Shidi's mouth. Shidi smelled it and found it quite fragrant and looked good. So he took a bite and definitely would not eat the second bite. And once you bite into it, you can't stop. A plate of chicken and a bowl of rice solved the problem. Looking at the empty bowl in front of him, he remained silent. After eating and drinking, they sat on the sofa and watched today's live report on the city's edge. Lin Qingjun asked, brother, when are you leaving? Half an hour later, what happened? Are you reluctant to let your brother go? No, after you leave, the cake will be mine alone. Damn, I almost forgot about the cake. As he said that, he got up, went to cut the cake, and then came to the sofa with a big piece of cake. Well, Mom's cooking skills are still so great. Lin Qingjun raised his head and said, Brother, I have a question. Well, you go ahead. How much do you know about the cultivation realm of the contractor? Hearing this, Lin Qingyun paused, thought for a moment and said, That's right. Today you are almost considered half a contractor. The school originally told you this, but it's better to tell you now. Sitting down, he looked at his brother and said seriously, The initial realm is your current realm, the first of the 3 initial stages. At this stage, you can start the summoning ceremony. After summoning the contracted spirit, the speed of cultivation will increase dramatically. The initial stages are 1 to 3, and then cocoon solidification, transformation solidification, broken solidification, no feathers, and unified feathers. After that, it is no longer something I can touch. Lin Qingjun nodded thoughtfully and asked, So, what is your realm, brother? Lin Qingyun grinned and said, Of course it is breaking the solidity. There are 3 stages of breaking the solidity, and I am in the first stage. Lin Qingjun looked at his father next to him again. Lin Chuan turned around and said, What are you doing? As a master, I am definitely stronger than you. I am at the 3rd stage of breaking solidity, and I am only 1 step away from entering the wooling stage. Lin Qingjun curled his lips. He had the nerve to say it so confidently. Suddenly, he thought of the deputy city lord and opened his mouth, but found that even if he told these people, they probably wouldn't know. Not long after, Lin Qingyun stood up and said, I'm leaving. Goodbye. F***K. You guys are so cruel. The corners of Lin Qingyun's mouth twitched a few times. This attitude was too indifferent. He shook his head and left. At night, Lin Qingjun lay on the bed with his eyes open. He is thinking about the future development direction. This world doesn't seem cruel now, but that's because there is a city wall and countless city guards guarding it. Snap. The door was opened. A figure walked in. Lin Qingjun took a look and sat up suddenly, asking, How did you get in? The person who came was Emperor Sure. The latter closed the door and said calmly, Because of the contract, I can't leave you too far. Lin Qingjun didn't think much about it and leaned inside. But there was no movement for a long time. I couldn't help but open my eyes and look towards the door. He stood up all of a sudden. F***K. Why are you kneeling on the ground so late at night? At this moment, Shirdi covered his stomach with both hands, knelt on the ground, and pressed his forehead against the ground. A look of pain on his face. Shirdi gnashed his teeth and said, I don't know, but I feel a violent force raging in my stomach. Lin Qingjun was so anxious that he scratched his head. Why did this person suddenly become ill? Before he could make any move, Shirdi roared and his body instantly transformed into a white beast with unusually lush hair. Looks like a wolf but is not a wolf. Looks like a tiger but is not a tiger. Suddenly, it opened its mouth and spit out a golden bead the size of a fist. Then the bead quickly enlarged and finally became the size of a human head. The Emperor of Time also remained in the form of a strange beast and passed out, but before he fell unconscious, his eyes flashed with a strange light as he looked at the bead the size of a human head. An invisible energy enveloped the beads. Lin Qingjun couldn't help but be dumbfounded. What the hell? I came to my room, had a stomachache for no apparent reason, and then turned into a big cat and vomited a bead, and then passed out. He looked at the golden beads, then looked at the unconscious Time Emperor who had become the size of a kitten. My heart almost melted immediately. He is a real cat lover. Zhang first put the bead into a suitcase, then carried the cat-shaped shitty to the bed. This cat not only has abundant hair that does not shed, but is also extremely good-looking. The kind that people want to when they see it. The next day, Shirdi woke up in a daze and felt herself being held by a pair of big hands, and another hand was constantly rubbing her head. This same feeling is amazing. Not only does it make a purring sound. Well, this sleep is really fulfilling. Lin Qingjun hugged the cat version of Shirdi Dao. He grabbed Shitty with both hands, held him high, and looked at the snow-white cat with icy blue pupils. A heart melted. Meow. Shirdi struggled for a few times, then changed back into human form. Then she sat heavily on Lin Qingjun's stomach. Chapter 8. Lin Qingjun let out a scream, and felt as if his stomach was hit by a huge rock from high above. F***K, you're really heavy. You're not fat at all. Sure D sat on him, holding Lin Qingjun's shoulders with both hands and shaking him anxiously. Lord, my lord, the pearl, my pearl. Stop, stop, stop. You're going to make me dizzy. Lin Qingjun grabbed her hand and said, the bead. Is it the one you spit out yesterday? I put it away. How can you use it? Emperor Sure nodded and said, it is useful. It can help me recover my strength quickly and also improve my master's strength. Lin Qingjun couldn't help but get a little excited when he heard this. His strength improved rapidly, but he recovered quickly, because he thought of the scene last night when Sure D knelt on the ground in pain. So what happened to you yesterday? Did you have any side effects? And what's the name of that bead? Sure D shook his head and said, there are no side effects. It's just that I killed an 8-clawed fairy dragon before I was summoned by my lord. I just swallowed its dragon ball and was summoned by my lord. The dragon's dragon ball still contains a huge amount of energy that has not been digested, which can help me and my master quickly improve our strength. Lin Qingjun was shocked. Is there such a good thing? So what level can this dragon ball help us reach? Emperor Sure thought for a moment and said, although it can help us improve our strength quickly, the power in the dragon ball is very powerful. We can only absorb a little bit a day and then stop for a week or half a month before we can start again. Otherwise, we will be absorbed by the dragon ball. The filthy power of the mind changes. It is not clear what level it reaches. Oh, hearing this, Lin Qingjun nodded in sudden realization. Then he looked up and down at Sure D's proud figure, except for his chest, which was not proud. Emperor Sure also felt uncomfortable being looked at by him. Before, she was the empress who was above all living beings, but today, she was forced to sign a master-servant contract with a person who had no power at all. She was speechless. Lin Qingjun touched his chin and grinned. If you turn into the kitten form just now, I will give you the dragon ball. Hee hee, how about that? Isn't this a good deal? Oh, what's going on? Sure Daidu was already prepared for what to do. But in the end, it was just such a simple request. Seeing her dull eyes, Lin Qingjun couldn't help but ask, what's wrong? Is it not okay? Or can't you just follow your heart? The emperor shook his head. No, I thought that the Lord was right about me. She blushed a little at the end. But Lin Qingjun had a face full of black question marks. You're probably overthinking it. What advantages do you have that make me think I do that to you? What advantages do you have? You don't have curves or curves. When the emperor heard this, he lowered his head again and couldn't help but touch it with his right hand. Flat. What a shame in this life. Just when Lin Qingjun was about to say something, the door opened again. Suzy Feng pushed the door open and shouted, son, get up, wait a minute. When he saw the situation inside clearly, he immediately stopped talking. Oh, young people like to have fun, starting early in the morning. You guys are busy. Your father and I are going to the mercenary group. Click, bang. After saying that, he closed the door. Suzy Feng shook his head and said with emotion, alas, my son is grown up. I don't have to worry about him anymore. But Yang, that kid. Alas, Lin Chuan said, what's wrong? Jun hasn't gotten up yet? You're the only one who talks too much. Let's go. After saying that, he took the confused Lin Chuan away. In the room, Lin Qingjun just got up and walked to the door, and he heard the sound of the living room door opening and closing. The hand was raised and then stopped. Mom and Dad are still so busy. My parents in the previous world got up at 4 or 5 o'clock every day and went out to work. Although the world has changed and life is no longer so tiring, people still have to travel outside the city just for those little things. It is very dangerous outside the city. He scratched his head, opened the door, walked out, went to the sink, and lived his life as usual. However, there was one more person beside him. He glanced at Shitty next to him, took out a toothbrush from the cabinet and said, brush your teeth? I don't know how to use this thing. I was born with a pure body, not stained by any dust. The emperor turned his head and said, really? The higher races are just awesome. Come to the dining table and eat breakfast. When he looked up, he saw Emperor Sure sitting in front of him, looking at him expressionlessly. Lin Qingjun said, isn't it uncomfortable for you to have a straight face all day? Come and have a laugh. As a result, the emperor was unmoved. But it can still be done if we use the power of the contract, but that would be oppression. The Emperor of Time said eagerly, my lord, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball. Then what, can you become the little kitten like last night again? I want to E for a while he. In the eyes of cat slaves, Improving strength is not as good as petting the cat for a while. I won't let anyone take advantage of me. Then do you still want the Dragon Balls? Then just this time. Hee hee hee. Is this right? An obedient child is a good child, and only then can he have lollipops to eat. Whoosh, after Sure D finished speaking, he turned into the size of an adult cat. With his lush white hair and ice-colored pupils, in the eyes of cat slaves, he is simply a supreme god. Lin Qingjun grabbed the Emperor of Time, put him in his arms, and ravaged him. Then he buried his face in the white hair and took a deep breath. I haven't petted a cat for a long time. Gulu, when does my lord plan to give me the Dragon Ball? The cat made a clear sound. Here, I'll give it to you right away. Ding dong, just when he was about to take action again, a doorbell rang. Who is coming to my place so early in the morning? Lin Qingjun was confused, got up, and came to the door to look through the peephole. Elder brother? Lin Qingyang stood at the door. At this moment, he looked around from time to time. His expression seemed a little anxious. Open the door quickly. I forgot my things. Lin Qingyang urged outside. Lin Qingjun didn't have any doubts and opened the door directly. But who would have expected that as soon as the door opened? Lin Qingyang outside directly raised his foot and kicked the door. With a bang, the door hit the wall. Lin Qingyang broke in and quickly subdued Lin Qingjun. A knife was pressed against his neck. If you don't want to die, boy, don't move. As soon as he finished speaking, 5 more figures walked in at the door. You be asterisk 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 D. Let my brother go. Otherwise I'll kill you. F asterisk asterisk KU. The leader is Lin Qingyang. Everything happened so fast, less than a minute from opening the door to now. Lin Qingjun's head was in a state of confusion. Who am I? Where am I? How come there are 2 brothers? The appearance of the fake Lin Qingyang changed and turned into a voluptuous and tight-fitting sexy beauty. Lin Qingyang, you must be tired of arresting me for so many days. But now, your brother is in my hands. How about we each take a step back? You go out. Stay 50 meters away from here. I will let you go in 1 minute. Your brother, the sexy beauty said. You. When a pretty woman next to Lin Qingyang wanted to say something, she raised her hand to stop her. Chapter 9. Calm down. My brother is still in her hands. Lin Qingyang looked at the 2 people opposite him, alertly looking around with his peripheral vision, thinking of ways to break the impasse. The sexy beauty pinched Lin Qingjun with one hand and slapped his face with the blade of a knife with the other hand, saying, Lin Qingyang, I have investigated you. You really love this brother very much. If I were to cut something off your body, or cut your neck directly, what will you do then? Ha ha ha. You. Be asterisk 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 D. Lin Qingyang clenched his fists. His eyes seemed to be spitting fire. Well, let's both take a step back. If you let my brother go, I'll let you go. Haha, that means there will be a next time. The sexy beauty pinched Lin Qingjun's neck and took a step back. Lin Qingjun, who was being pinched by her, had already reacted and was panicking. If someone holds a knife to your neck, would you panic? At this moment, a thought came into his mind. My lord, you can use the power of time and space to leave here. Lin Qingjun's eyes lit up and he said, Time and space are not space. How can you run? Emperor, sure. You can go to any time point in these 5 minutes, and my lord will be safe. You can also change everything in the future timeline. You can also make changes to what is about to happen. However, because my lord and I are too weak, we can only solve this problem within 5 minutes. Lin Qingjun remained silent, his mind working rapidly as he thought of countermeasures. It has been almost 4 minutes since I returned, and it is too late to go back. That's only the future. When he thought of this, he communicated with the Time Emperor and used the power of time and space, and a light flashed in his eyes. Time stopped. A blue shadow exactly like Lin Qingjun appeared from his body. He looked down at his hands and said, This is one of my low-level skills. My lord, please come up with a countermeasure quickly, otherwise the power of time and space will dissipate, and we will return to the original time point. The Emperor of Time appeared beside him and said. Lin Qingjun nodded. People will still move, which means things will happen in the future. A minute later, Lin Qingyang had no choice but to compromise and retreat 50 meters away, letting the woman leave. After that, the woman did release Lin Qingjun after she escaped, but she also cut off one of his arms to buy time. When Lin Qingjun saw this, his face became extremely angry. His brother was about to let him go, but he still wanted to attack him. This woman is so vicious. But now is not the time to be angry. We must find a way out of this predicament. Lin Qingjun looked around, found a rolling pin and placed it on the woman's hind legs. Looked at the timeline and fell. But this also made her nervous, and she took action against herself. Then he found some nails and scattered them on the place where her head had hit the ground. Then he found a big hammer and put it on the top of her head. As soon as I finished this, time returned to its original position. Lin Qingjun looked up, blinked, then looked at Lin Qingyang and blinked 3 times. Seeing this scene, Lin Qingyang suddenly remembered that his brother possessed the ability of time and space. In that case, it's easy. Lin Qingyang was silent for a while, then said, "Okay, we'll let you go, but you have to let go of my brother." The sexy beauty nodded and said, "Okay, you guys step back." But when one of his companions wanted to say something, he was stopped by Lin Qingyang's eyes, and she also backed away little by little. Lin Qingjun, who was being held by him, had an imperceptible curve at the corner of his mouth. Just when Lin Qingyang and the others retreated to the door, they found a rolling pin floating out from the kitchen and then falling to the ground. The sexy beauty just happened to step on it, and her steps became unsteady. But the other foot stood firm. No falling. Lin Qingjun opened his eyes and thought, "No way." He clearly saw her fall. "Emperor, sure. My lord, what you saw is a future timeline. In fact, there are many more timelines." After hearing this, Lin Qingjun calmed down a lot. Steadying her steps, the sexy beauty continued to retreat. The people at the door secretly thought it was a pity, but did not step back, just stood there and watched. When the sexy beauty saw this scene, she stepped down, and a bunch of long and sharp nails appeared where she stepped. She just stepped on it. Her expression was ferocious, but she didn't shout out. When she was about to ask Lin Qingyang and others why they stopped, a big hammer appeared above her head and smashed down. Clang! At that moment, she felt as if her head was split open. "Brother, go ahead and kill this stinky woman." At this time, Lin Qingjun broke free from the woman's restraints. Just when he was out of trouble, Lin Qingyang moved, showing a golden red guqin, on which was carved a golden phoenix that looked like it was crying. Clank! Lin Qingyang held the zither in one hand and plucked the strings with the other. The sounds of the zither rang out, and the sound waves hit the woman's ears. To outsiders, this is a very beautiful piano sound, but to this woman's ears, it is like countless birds calling in her ears. It made her head foggy and confused. "Damn it! You dare to threaten me with my brother? I'll kill you." Lin Qingyang rushed forward, holding the guqin, and started punching and kicking the woman. It was his teammates next to him who couldn't stand it anymore and stepped forward to hold him back. Lin Qingyang came to his brother and said, "Brother, are you okay? Are you injured anywhere?" Lin Qingjun shook his head and said, "I'm fine. By the way, brother, is this your S-level weapon soul contract, the Phoenix Blood Harp? So handsome." Lin Qingyang looked at the zither in his hand and sighed. "It's cool, but its skills are all ranged, and single-target attacks are rare. Just like the one just now, it seemed to be a single-target attack, but if 2 people stood together, will also be affected, which is why I didn't do it." Lin Qingjun turned his head and looked at the woman in front of him who was beaten into a pig's head. F***K. Who is this pighead? "You are the pighead. You are the pighead in every way." The pig-headed woman yelled madly. "I am a hidden spirit thief, not a pighead." "Damn it, you're still yelling at me, right?" Bang! Clang! Lin Qingyang smashed the zither directly at her face, and the hidden spirit thief fainted. When Lin Qingjun saw this scene, he felt ashamed. "This is the first time I've seen a piano that can be used like this." "Brother, your piano won't break, right? What are you afraid of? There are souls repairing it. This woman is a thief in this area. She stole a lot of people's property. We spent a lot of effort to catch her. We finally caught her today," Lin Qingyang added. "Also, her contracted spirit is a body chameleon, which can transform into someone else's appearance to steal. Although her strength is only solid, she is extremely cunning and clever, and has not been caught until now. In this world, there are still many contracted spirits that can transform, so you have to be careful in the future, understand?" "Oh, I see." Lin Qingjun nodded, thinking that the world is so big that there are really all kinds of strange things. But when I thought of Peppa Pig at the contract ceremony, I felt relieved. Chapter 10. Lin Qingjun asked, "Brother, what are you going to do next?" Lin Qingyang pointed at the hidden spirit thief and said, "Take her to the prison of Yuqingwei and torture her. Make her cough up all the money, a lot of which belongs to ordinary people." The Yuqingwei is a department founded by the mayor of Weicheng. It is equivalent to the combination of the police and firefighters in our world, but this one travels around an area in a city, constantly helping out and catching criminals. Even though there are strong people in the city and laws set by the city lord, there are still people who do those things. So this department was founded. Just when Lin Qingjun was about to walk out, Lin Qingjun said, "Brother, I want to practice. Can you send me a set of information?" Lin Qingjun stopped, turned around and smiled sheepishly, saying, "With my authority, I can only give you my unimportant and simple cultivation method." Lin Qingjun nodded and said, "It's okay, as long as you can practice." Wait, not long after Lin Qingjun left, I received a text message on my mobile phone, which was sent by Lin Qingjun. Lin Qingjun opened it and took a look. Most of it was an introduction, and the training was just a general method of cultivation. Weapon soul, beast, humanoid, the three are different, but the cultivation is almost the same. The contracted spirit devours the flesh and blood and inner elixir of the strange beast, and then feeds back the pure power that can be absorbed by the human body to the master. It was just a rough estimate, very little, but Lin Qingjun knew that it was because his brother did not have enough authority and could not pass on the really good stuff. But these are much better than the folk ones. "My lord, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball. I want the Dragon Ball to restore my strength." Shirdi transformed from a kitten back into a human and said anxiously. Lin Qingjun nodded. Okay. He returned to the room with Shidi. As for the things in the living room that were damaged by the fight, they had been dealt with by Lin Qingyun's teammates. He locked the door, drew the curtains, and took out a golden bead as big as a human head from the suitcase. "Sure, Emperor. Is this Dragon Ball this big?" Lin Qingjun held the Dragon Ball and looked up at Shirdi Dao. The latter knelt down, staring at the Dragon Ball with his icy eyes without blinking, and said, "No, the Dragon Ball has been sealed by me, and its true size is 10 times larger. Hissed, if this is real size, wouldn't it be comparable to a house? So the question is, how big is this dragon? Lord, give me the Dragon Ball." Shidi grabbed his sleeve, but his eyes were fixed on the Dragon Ball. Lin Qingjun nodded and gave her the Dragon Ball. Shirdi's eyes lit up, and he took it and put it on his lap. Then her cherry lips opened slightly, and wisps of golden air emerged from the Dragon Ball and were sucked into the mouth of the Emperor of Time. Lin Qingjun watched these scenes and nodded. According to the practice method mentioned above, the contracted spirit devours the energy in the inner elixir of the alien beast, and then feeds back their purified power to the master. This is the general way of practice. As for why he didn't absorb it himself, Lin Qingjun also investigated. That's because humans are unable to absorb the violent and wild energy in the inner core of alien beasts, and thus give it to the contracted spirits. As for the flesh and blood of strange beasts, humans can eat them, and eating them can improve their physical fitness. As time goes by little, Lin Qingjun also felt a stream of energy floating from Emperor Shi into his body. At the same time, he could also feel that his body was getting stronger little by little. Then he also pretended to sit down cross-legged. 15 minutes later, Lin Qingjun gradually felt that something was wrong. Looking at Shidi's delicate and small face, he licked his lips. He shook his head, looked down, and suddenly calmed down a lot. Well, level A is indeed the best way to calm people down. Another 15 minutes passed. Lin Qingjun took off his coat and tugged at his collar. Damn, this shouldn't be the case. Could it be that I just violated some rules when I was practicing? Or maybe the energy of this Dragon Ball is too powerful and it's normal that I can't handle it. Lin Qingjun decided to stop practicing for a few more minutes. Otherwise, he would have to start the cremation ceremony at home in advance. 5 minutes later, before he could speak, Shirdi stopped. How my strength is recovering really slowly, but as my strength grows, my training speed will also increase. She put down the Dragon Ball and was almost startled when she looked up, because Lin Qingjun was staring at her with a strange look and said, "You, tell me clearly what is going on." Lin Qingjun exhaled slightly, staring at her icy eyes. Shirdi was a little confused, and suddenly, she thought of a serious problem. The dragon is inherently lustful, and its Dragon Ball is where most of the dragon's energy is gathered, and it is also placed on the heart. What she hunted was a male dragon, and the energy of the Dragon Ball contained tremendous yang energy. The woman will be fine as she absorbs the power inside, because yin and yang complement each other. But if a man absorbs it, it's like sprinkling oil and high-proof alcohol on a pile of dry wood, and the woman will go crazy as soon as she touches it. Thinking of this, she immediately stood up and wanted to escape. Bang! Lin Qingjun stared at Shirdi's delicate little face and said, "Hey, what's the matter? My lord, Suddenly, she opened her eyes wide and looked at the man who was so close to her. This time is different from the previous times. The previous encounters were not as intense as this one. My first kiss, which I had cherished for who knows how many years, was gone just like that. Because of the contract, Sure D could not break free and could only accept it passively. A long time, Lin Qingjun stood up and touched his lips. It's icy and cool and very fragrant. Hearing this, her already flushed face turned even redder. Bah, my lord. Emperor Sure turned his head away and said, You are totally unworthy of being my master. If it weren't for the contract, I wouldn't have fallen to this point. Lin Qingjun was still a little unconscious. When he heard these words, his eyes fixed. He grabbed both of her wrists with one hand and pinned them to the ground. With his other hand, he pinched her chin and straightened it, saying, I don't deserve it? Then I will strive to deserve this seat. My little kitty. Huahu, after a long time, Lin Qingjun lay on the ground, looking at the ceiling. Now he is sober. Also, he thought of the sentence just now. I shook my head, not knowing why I said such a thing. Chapter 11. He stood up, looked at the Emperor of Time on the ground who was exhaling like blue, turned around and walked out. Enter the bathroom and let the cold water wash over your body. Before practicing, his level was the first of the initial 3 levels. After practicing, my strength has increased a lot, and I am not far from the 2nd level, and my physical fitness has also increased a lot. There are risks in this practice. He rubbed his face and walked out. As soon as I opened the door, I saw Emperor Sure standing at the door. Holy shit, you're peeping? Lin Qingjun said with his arms crossed. Emperor Sure rolled his eyes and said, I'm dirty and need to take a bath. Oh. Lin Qingjun made room for her to enter. Sure D entered the bathroom, leaned against the wall, slid down the wall and sat on the floor. Slender, white hands were placed on Yima Pingchuan's chest, and a delicate little face was covered with blush. He turned his head to look at the door, exactly in the direction of Lin Qingjun, his red lips slightly raised. No creature has ever dared to be so presumptuous towards me, but I don't find it offensive at all. Lin Qingjun came to the sofa and sat down. He took out his mobile phone and continued to sort out the news in the world. Now, the only known gathering places for humans are those 5 cities: Weicheng, Qinqing, Wenli Tianbao, White Holy Palace, Virgin Island. Each city is as big as a province. But these cities have their own urban plans. There is a system of slavery, a system of belief, a system of chaos, and a system of peace. Weicheng is relatively peaceful, but there is a certain distinction between ordinary people and contractors. Contractors can achieve high status, while ordinary people can only live as part-time workers. But this does not mean that contractors are superior to others, at least in Wei City. In Weicheng, contractors are not allowed to attack ordinary people. Whenever a certain time comes, the contractors will die in pieces. Because the alien beasts seem to have planned to launch a beast wave on New Year's Eve, and then massacre a large number of humans before leaving. It felt like harvesting leeks. Here, the New Year is not called the New Year. It is called the Day of Disaster. This world is really cruel. Lin Qingjun put down his phone and sighed. He could find all of these, which meant it wasn't the most serious problem. Suddenly, he thought of yesterday's deputy city lord, picked up the phone again, and typed in the word city lord. Soon, a series of messages popped up. The first one is, how strong are the 5 city lords? Are there strength enough to scare the alien beasts? Article 2. The 5 city lords have existed since the city was founded. How strong are they now? These are all fake and cannot be trusted. The most powerful thing is a video, a short video shot by a person. Lin Qingjun clicked in. The location is at the corner of a street, and the camera is shot upward. The video is pitch black, but lightning flashes from time to time, illuminating the surrounding area. He could vaguely see a huge beast of extremely terrifying size hidden within the dark clouds. When lightning fell again, a human figure stood in front of the giant beast. Then the lightning flashed again, and there was nothing inside the dark clouds. This video, watching it is like not watching it. Lin Qingjun threw away his phone, crossed his legs, and closed his eyes. At the same time, in the center of Wei City, the city lord's palace was in retreat. The lord of Wei City is sitting cross-legged in the center, and behind him are countless pairs of huge eyes, and you can vaguely feel that this is some kind of creature. I haven't measured the largest one, so I don't know how big it is. And all around are inner elixirs that have been drained of energy. As the inner elixir the size of a human head was sucked dry, Countless inner elixirs around him turned into ashes and dissipated. City Lord Wei opened his eyes and exhaled a thick breath. At my current level, if I want to improve, I have to hunt exotic beasts of the same level as me. But if I do that, he sighed helplessly and stood up. The giant beast behind him dissipated, forming a mark on the back of his hand. Opened the door and walked out. The deputy city lord appeared beside him and said respectfully, City Lord? City Lord Wei nodded and asked, How long have I been in seclusion? 3 or 4 months. Why is it short? By the way, has the summoning ceremony started? Are there any good seedlings? City Lord Wei asked as he walked towards the main hall of the City Lord's mansion. The deputy city lord followed behind and said, There are several. The Li family has produced several S-level geniuses and an SS-level genius. The Du family has also produced several S-level geniuses. And, stop. City Lord Wei waved his hand and interrupted. I don't want to know about those families, but have any of them appeared among the people? The deputy city lord bowed and said, Yes, there are 5 SS-level geniuses. City Lord Wei rubbed his brows and said, Alas, there are fewer and fewer talented people. When I was young, there were many geniuses, but now there are fewer and fewer. I couldn't resist it back then, so how can I resist it in the future? Can I resist? Or will there be no one to take my place? Once the contract is signed, alas, in all these years, he has never met a genius that satisfies him. As time goes by, Weicheng will become more dangerous. Suddenly, when he looked up, he saw the deputy city lord looking at him with a faint smile. Suddenly, he felt that his emotions were deceived. Bang! He slapped the table with both hands and said, Xiao Yunqian, how dare you lie to me? The deputy city lord waved his hand awkwardly and said, I dare not. Humph! What else are you hiding from me? Tell me, or I'll chop you up. Although he said this, there was a smile between his brows. Since Xiao Yunqian didn't say anything, it must be a good thing. It's impossible for anyone to leave the worst for last. Xiao Yunqian smiled and said, There is good news. Yesterday, I felt someone moving the timeline. When I rushed over to take a look, I found a boy and a girl. Well, go on. City Lord Wei nodded without showing too much surprise. Xiao Yunqian continued. That girl is the contracted spirit of that boy. Oh, humanoid? City Lord Wei became slightly interested. Humanoids were very rare and could be compared to contracted spirits that possessed the laws of space or the blood of mythical beasts. The ancient powerful beings are even rarer. And, after some inquiries, I learned that the girl is not only an ancient powerful being, but also possesses the power of time and space. Really? City Lord Wei's curiosity had been completely aroused, and he moved his fingers in the air a few times. I guarantee it with my life, Xiao Yunqian said with a smile. Suddenly, City Lord Wei's expression froze, and he raised his head slightly. There was a hint of surprise in his eyes. This feeling, is it really real? Thinking of this, he called out softly, Secret guard, swish, swish, swish. 5 figures wearing faceless masks suddenly appeared behind Weicheng, and they said in unison, Subordinates are here. Number 2, send someone to watch over the kid and make sure he doesn't die. One of them stood up, bowed respectfully, and then disappeared. Others, report on the situation in the city in recent years. Yes. At the same time on the other side, Qin State. In the Qin Imperial Palace, the king of Qin, who was sitting alone on the supreme throne, opened his slightly closed eyes and looked in the direction of Weicheng. I actually felt a trace of the aura of a true dragon. In the whole world, besides me, is there anyone else born with the aura of a true dragon? At this moment, in a distant place opposite the Qin State's Xianying Palace, a terrifying body began to move, several mountains began to tremble and opened their huge eyes. A 4-clawed real dragon raised its head, looked towards Weicheng, and roared. The sound resounded through the sky, and the mountains began to tremble. In the Qin Imperial Palace, the king of Qin frowned and stood up. His voice, which contained a hint of anger, resounded in the hall. What are you yelling about? It's not even September yet, and you dare to act so arrogantly. The moment the words fell, a 5-clawed golden dragon with a body of several thousand meters rose from the palace. With its 2 heads full of majestic dragon power, it looked towards a distant place with its mouth wide open. A spot of light quickly condensed and then shot towards that place. A moment later, a huge mushroom cloud rose over there, and 1.5 mountains were directly destroyed. The power is much higher than that of nuclear weapons. A wailing sound resounded through the sky, and then no one dared to make a sound. King Qin snorted coldly and sat back on the supreme throne. The other four forces, for extremely powerful beings, looked in the direction of Qin. Although I don't know what this person does, I know that he is the only one who dares to break the rules of heaven and earth like this. Time went by quickly and 10 days passed. During this period, Shitty would also absorb the energy in the Dragon Balls for training. But it was all over within half an hour. After experiencing that kind of thing, Shirdi became more restrained towards Lin Qingjun. Chapter 12. Before leaving, Su Zifang held his hand and said, "Life in the Contract Academy is very hard, but you must be able to endure it, understand? Otherwise, you will be wasting your talent." Lin Qingjun's mouth twitched. What's going on? According to common sense, isn't that what my mother said? Son, if you can't make it in school, just tell me wait. I know, Mom. How could I not bear it? Let's go. After saying that, he was about to leave. However, Su Zifang grabbed Shitty's hand again. Xiao Xiao, please take care of my son. Don't let him get bullied at school. Lin Qingjun had a dark face, and he had to pull and tug hard to pull Shirdi back. Run all the way to school. Come to the designated location and stand. I looked around and found that there were more than half fewer people coming than before. But it seems that the few are sea level. Hey bro, what are you thinking about? Just as he was wondering where those people were going, a voice sounded from behind. Lin Qingjun turned around and saw Li Taibai walking towards him pulling a suitcase. I wasn't thinking about anything. I was just wondering what school would be like. Oh, that's how it is in school. We practice all day long. If we're not practicing, we're sparring with captured monsters. Then we have a small test every 6 months and a big test every 2 years. Li Bai stood beside him, waved his hand and said, "It seems that he knows a lot about these things." I know these things. I've heard my brother talk about them. What are you thinking about? Speechless. Li Taibai's eyelids twitched a few times. What was he talking about? I was wondering, are there many girls in the college? Are they pretty? Lin Qingjun spoke seriously, enunciating each word. Li Taibai touched the back of his head, looked at Shirdi who was standing beside him and said, "Isn't there a girl next to you who is as good as anyone else?" Lin Qingjun looked at her, shook his head and said, "No, she has already lost and lost completely." Then lost? No big waves. Look, is that a girl without big waves? That's a brother. Lin Qingjun stepped forward and put his arm around his shoulders and said, A-level and B-level are brothers. C-level is the younger sister, D-level is the older sister, and E-level is the queen. Li Bai was hugged by him, looking here and there. The mind is gradually led astray. So, what about F-class? What is it? F-rank? That's called embracing half the world. What about G-level? Embrace the whole world? You know, that means the world is my home. Wherever I hug and touch is my home. I'll go, brother. You're awesome. I used to think that a woman who lowered her head and couldn't see her toes was the most unique in the world. But after your explanation, it's nothing at all. I love the world. The world is my home. Later, Emperor Shi looked at Lin Qingjun hugging Li Bai, and his face looked strange. Lord, you are very serious at home, right? But why did he become so unbearable? Vulgar once he got to school? Humph, as expected, Lord. You are not worthy of being my lord. I do not belong to anyone. Emperor Shi turned his head away and said calmly. Lin Qingjun asked, Taibai, where's your great sword? Where did you take it? Here. Li Taibai pointed to the sword-shaped mark on the back of his hand and said, the contracted spirit can be stored in the mark. Oh, Lin Qingjun nodded thoughtfully and said why he didn't see the contracted spirits of those students with large contracted spirits. Suddenly, he looked at Emperor Shi behind him. The latter also felt someone was looking at her, so she turned around and saw Lin Qingjun pointing at her forehead. Hey, why don't you come in and rest for a while? Oomph. The emperor snorted lightly and turned his head away without saying anything. Alas, what should I do if the contracted spirit is not under the control of the master? Just as Lin Qingjun was sighing, Principal Wang Yun and a middle-aged man wearing a certain uniform came up to the crowd. Wang Yun said, It is my pride that Gaoyang College has produced so many students. I won't say any more nonsense. The person next to me is Lu Xining, a tutor from the West School of Contractor College. Next, I will be responsible for taking you to the Contractor Academy. Lu Xining took a step forward and said, You can call me Teacher Lu. We have 8 schools in Weiqing Contract Academy, and we are going to the West School. What I want to talk about this time is, don't be discouraged if you have a low contract spirit level. As long as you work hard, Your contract spirit level may be improved in the future. Hard work is very important. Blah blah, but talent is more important. Li Bai whispered below. Lin Qingjun glanced at him. He seemed to remember a sentence said by Li from that world. If hard work is useful, what is the point of genius? Okay, everyone, let's get ready and head to the west courtyard. After saying this, he waved his hand and a snake similar to the Tang snake appeared behind him. This Tang snake is big enough to carry hundreds of people in the college square. Lin Qingjun looked at the Tang snake and murmured, "Damn, what a big snake. Pa, Tang snake. What level of expert is this teacher Lu? Brother, let's go." Li Taibai took Lin Qingjun's hand and put it on Tangsha's back. Lu Xining saw the three people coming up and greeted them with a smile. You two must be Lin Qingjun and Li Taibai. Li Taibai smiled and said, "Yes, I am your student. What can I do for you, Mr. Lu?" Lin Qingjun was a little surprised when he heard this and asked, "Teacher Lu, do you know me?" Lu Xining smiled and said, "I definitely know you too. The 8 academies are racking their brains to find SSS and SS-level geniuses. But in the end, they all landed in our West Academy." "Oh, Mr. Lu, what level are you at?" "Tongyi level?" Lin Qingjun asked. Lu Xining shook her head and said, "No, I am one of the people below the dean, and I am very strong." "Teacher Lu, what you said is the same as if you didn't say anything. I'm speechless." Hee. Lu Xining smiled and said nothing. Lin Qingjun scratched his head and said, "What's there to hide? Sooner or later, you'll have to know." Li Taibai patted his shoulder and said, "Don't worry, you are not the only one who wants to know. My family members don't let me know the realm above Tongyi, saying that they want to prevent me from developing a mentality of being too ambitious." Seeing that everyone was present, Lu Xining waved her hand, and the Tang snake hissed and took off. Lin Qingjun nodded, squatted down, stroked the white scales under his feet, and said, "Teacher Lu, is this a Tang snake?" "No, it's a long way from being a real Tang snake. My contracted spirit was originally an S-level flame-flying snake. After my careful cultivation, its bloodline has reached 80% close to that of a Tang snake." "Oh, then can I cut off a piece of scale to make leather armor, Mr. Lu?" "I'm afraid of death." "I'm afraid of you, big head ghost. As contractors, we should peel the skins of strange beasts, so that the leather armor made by us will be majestic. Then am I still dignified if I fearlessly pick off a piece of scale?" Hiss. A huge snake head turned around, its eyes filled with unspeakable ferocity. Lin Qingjun waved his hands awkwardly. Forget it. Forget it. I think it's safer to skin the beast." "No, it should be more manly." Chapter 13. "Teacher Lu, I have a question." "What's your question this time?" "Ask it." Lu Xining was angry. Lin Qingjun rubbed his nose and said with a smile, "I just want to ask where are the people who contracted C-level contract spirits?" Hearing this, Lu Xining took a deep breath and exhaled gently. He raised a hand, pointed at the huge city wall that was vaguely visible in the distance, and said, "They have been selected to enter the city defense department." Lin Qingjun opened his mouth, but finally closed it. Tang Shi's flying speed was still very fast, and it reached the sky above the gate of the west courtyard within a few minutes. Lin Qingjun stood at the snake head and looked not at the very large college, but at the huge city wall 1,000 meters away from the west courtyard. The walls are made of metal and huge stone bricks. No, it should be said that the outside of the stone bricks is covered with a technological city wall. What's the purpose of this? Wouldn't it be better to build one type of city wall? Lin Qingjun murmured. Alas, Li Taibai next to him shook his head when he heard this and said, "I read the family history and learned one thing. There is no time. There is no time? Yes, there is no time. The day of disaster occurs once in December, and every time it brings a large number of casualties. The city wall was originally built like that, but because it takes time to dismantle it, it is better to use it directly to repair or cover the new city wall. Even though it may not be strong, it saves time." "Oh," Lin Qingjun nodded, "time is indeed important." And he also further felt the terror of the alien beasts. Tangshi landed and came to the gate of the college. The students came down one by one and stood in line according to the original formation. Then a dozen instructors came forward and stood behind Lu Xining. The latter said, "Behind me are the gold medal tutors of the Contractor Academy. Each one represents a class. Later they will start to select people. Each of them will select 5 students. After being selected, they will be in the same class. And no one was selected. The selected people will be divided into groups of 50 and enter each class." After hearing this, these students were all in an uproar. The ones who are selected must be those geniuses. We B-level ordinary people can only enter the ordinary class. That's right, since we are doing this, we might as well just let those who are A-level and above enter. The students cried out unwillingly. Lu Xingning frowned slightly when he heard this, took a step forward to gain momentum, and shouted, "Quiet! What's the point of making noise?" Phew, the students who were noisy just now fell silent instantly. Lin Qingjun looked around and saw that almost all the students lowered their heads and remained calm. I muttered in my heart, "Damn it, it's just like when I was in junior high school 2 years ago." The teacher yelled, and the whole class fell silent. Lu Xingning walked back and forth and said, "Resources are plentiful in the Contractor Academy, which absorbs almost 45% of the city's resources. Isn't it enough for you to share? In the past, the alien beasts were pressing every step of the way. There is no time to arrange so many things to ensure fairness. Only geniuses can rise quickly, and what about you? Are you really worse than being a genius from the beginning?" Back then, the deputy city leader Xiao Yunxian had been unknown, but suddenly he appeared one day. The time power you feel can save countless lives, but you must know that he is just a B-level contract spirit at the beginning. As long as you work hard and fight for resources for yourself, you may not be able to catch up with others. Lu Xinning's words made these students lower their heads even lower. Lin Qingjun scratched his head, came to Li Taibai's side and whispered, "Is the deputy city lord really like that?" Li Taibai leaned back and whispered back, "It is true that the deputy city lord was a D-class contract spirit at the beginning or a broken watch, but his contract spirit has time powers. That is to say, he can do it himself repair a little every day, and as you repair more, you will eventually transform directly into an SS-level contract spirit, traceability table, and finally rely on the power of time to practice quickly and become the deputy city lord you are today." Oh, let me tell you, there must be something fishy in it. How can there be people who work so hard? There are only geniuses who have been buried but have not lost their goal. Lu Xingning said, "Okay, now let's start selecting people. Let's go for a few mentors." As soon as he finished speaking, these instructors swarmed to Lin Qingjun's side. A fat man said, "My name is Zhong Feng. Please be my student. My teaching skills are first-rate. Come on, Canon. You look like you are just greedy for other people's contract spirits. Come to my place and let you feel your masculinity." A strong man showed off his muscles and winked at Lin Qingjun. "Ugh, uncle, I think, I don't need masculinity." Lin Qingjun pulled Shirdi over and held him in his arms. This made me feel a little better. It would have been much better if it wasn't a teach. Lao Xiang is disgusted to see you disgusting other people's children. Go aside. The man named Canon knocked the muscular man away with his butt, looked at Lin Qingjun and said, "Kid, you should still be my student. Don't listen to the two of them and choose me." Choose me. It's right to choose me. In order to fight for Lin Qingjun's ownership, these mentors even paid a very high price out of their own pockets, and some even almost got into a fight. It made all the colleges on the side look envious. But their envy is only envy, not jealousy. Because it is really difficult for SSS-level contract spirits to make people want to be angry. There is no way, the gap is too big. Seeing that things were getting worse and worse, Emperor Shi was also impatient with the noise. She took a step forward and shouted, "Shut up to me! A bunch of rubbish! How dare you be my master's mentor? Don't be shameless. Is there anyone here who understands time and space better than me?" Phew, the whole place fell silent again. All the student instructors looked at the beautiful girl in the center in disbelief. For the first time, someone rejected all mentors. Lin Qingjun looked around, came to the side of Emperor Shi and whispered, "Will this make these mentors lose face and put their shoes on us?" Face? Their face is worthless in front of me. They are just a bunch of ants. Next to him, Li Taibai gave a thumbs up and said, "Brother, you are still the best. The elders of my family often tell me to respect my teachers. It would be better for you to just start a fight." Lin Qingjun smiled coquettishly. "No, I also respect the teacher very much, but the contract spirit doesn't allow it." Okay, you don't have to fight anymore. Let Shaolin choose. Shaolin, you must choose a mentor. This is the rule." Lu Xingning stepped forward to smooth things over. He also didn't expect that Lin Qingjun's contracted spirit would be so domineering. Lin Qingjun nodded, his eyes wandering back and forth on those B-level and above female instructors. "This man, no, this is too old-fashioned. I don't want it. This one is too ordinary. I don't want it." Listening to Lin Qingjun's words, everyone present had black lines on their foreheads. Chapter 14. Some female teachers even clenched their fists. What does too manly mean? A bit old-fashioned? Lin Qingjun looked at Lu Xining and said, Teacher Lu, can we choose the principal? The latter shook his head and said, You can't choose the principal, because the principal is always in seclusion and has no time to teach you. Where's the vice principal? Same. So how do they handle all the big and small things in school? Lin Qingjun rubbed his head. If both the principal and vice principal were in seclusion, wouldn't the school be in chaos? Lu Xining pointed at herself and said with a smile, As for me, they gave those things to me. Actually, I am not here to pick you up, but because of you, an SSS-level genius, I went there in person. Is that right? Do you suddenly feel that your personality has been elevated? It is a pity. Lin Qingjun shook his head and said, I didn't. And this is the first time I heard someone say the word toolman in such a proud tone. F***K, you're looking for a fight, aren't you? Upon hearing this, Lu Xining almost rolled up her sleeves and went up to hit the guy. Fortunately, the other instructors cooperated and stepped forward to stop it. Lin Qingjun looked at Li Taibai and said, Taibai, which mentor do you choose? Li Taibai smiled strangely. If I could choose myself, I would choose that one. As he spoke, he pointed to a young man holding a sword in front of him. Lin Qingjun looked at the young man in deep thought. Judging from the age difference in this world, people like this are either too young or very old monsters. The average age of ordinary people is over 120 years old, and the age of contractors increases as their strength grows. Therefore, the contractor looks at age instead of appearance. Besides, this person never invited me. What do you think of that person? Lin Qingjun looked at Emperor Shi Wandao. The latter snorted and said, It's just an ant. Well, Lin Qingjun looked around and said, Everyone is very good. They are all top-notch instructors. All the instructors nodded in unison, indicating that they liked to hear this. So, who do you choose, kid? A mentor asked. Lin Qingjun touched his chin pretentiously, and after a long while he said, I think the most serious problem is that everyone does not understand time and space, and my contracted spirit, the Emperor of Time, has memories, so all you taught me is cultivation. Insights and theories, The instructors nodded again. That's right. Time and space are too rare. If it's a supernatural power like the 5 elements, basically all mentors will have it. But time and space are really gone, and the only person involved may be the Deputy City Lord Xiao Yunqian. So, among all the teachers who specializes in cultivation, Lin Qingjun said seriously, just as serious as when he faced his parents at home. The instructors looked at each other, and then all looked at the fat man named Cannon. It was Zhongfeng. Zhongfeng stepped forward and said with a smile, Haha, it seems that my efforts over the years have not been in vain. The child chose me. I am the fastest among these people, and I also have a copy of the cultivation textbook. Credit. Lin Qingjun nodded and walked behind Zhongfeng. Although he seemed somewhat lascivious, he would never joke about cultivation issues. Zhongfeng nodded, and then went to pick other students. The young man holding the sword came up to Li Taibai and said, You, be my student. My name is Yang Yu-san. Li Bai opened his mouth. These words were somewhat unquestionable, but it was exactly what he wanted, and he came behind Yang Yu-san. Then the latter selected other students who had contracted sword-type spirits and walked into the academy. He didn't even tell his students. Some students were still standing there, not knowing what to do, and only came to their senses after their companions called them. Lin Qingjun, who was standing by, was completely confused. Is this instructor a little too unreliable? Li Taibai waved at him and said, See you inside the academy? Lin Qingjun also waved goodbye. Then he looked at his mentor, Zhongfeng. Suddenly the corners of his mouth twitched, because Zhongfeng came to a large wave of students and said, Hey, sister, do you want to be my student? The student with the big wave stepped back, waved his hands and said, No, my contracted spirit is of low level. It doesn't matter if it's low. As long as you work hard, you may be able to raise the level of your contracted spirit. No. When the students of Big Wave saw their instructor's wretched look, they had no idea what hard work was. Really? What a pity. Zhongfeng shook his head and did not force it. Instead, he looked at the next large wave of students. When a male student blocked the way, he was knocked away. It's so annoying to watch. Lin Qingjun was also stunned. He wondered what kind of teacher had taken him in. I suddenly felt that my future was limited. Humph. Birds of a feather flock together. People are divided into groups. It's all the same virtue. Shirdi raised his head, snorted softly, and once again looked down on Lin Qingjun from the bottom of his heart. On the other side, the instructor named Lao Xiang stood in front of Li Feng, flexing his muscles and said, "Boy, I heard that your contract theory is A-level King Kong? Very good, very suitable for my college. Are you interested?" Sniff Li Feng blew out 2 streams of air from his nostrils and said, "Yes, of course I am willing." Haha, very good. Lao Xiang selected 4 other students who would definitely become muscular men in the future and left. Gradually, Zhong Feng, the golden mentor, was the only one left in the entire square. Zhong Feng stood there, rubbing his belly, and said, "Alas, I am a golden instructor, but no female students take the initiative to become my students. I am really distressed. Is it so difficult for me to have a female student? Is it possible? Handsome guy. Students. Even if there are handsome guys, it's not you." Zhong Feng had no choice but to select a few male students with better qualifications. Then he took Lin Qingjun and 5 other students into the academy. As soon as he entered the college, Lin Qingjun stopped. He glanced at his palm, then looked around and then looked outside the academy. He whispered, "What's going on? I feel like something is wrong. A time domain has been set up here. The passage of time has been slowed down. 1 week here is as long as 1 day outside." Empress said calmly. Time field. The first thing Lin Qingjun thought of was the work of Deputy City Lord Xiao Yunqian. Haha, you are indeed a time-space contract spirit. You are very sensitive to the time around you. Zhong Feng was touching his belly and laughing in front. The Emperor snorted and raised his head and said, "Call me your highness. I am not the contracted spirit you are talking about." Yes, whatever your highness says is what it is." Zhong Feng nodded and agreed with a smile. Lin Qingjun looked at this instructor. Apart from being a bit lustful, his temper was actually quite peaceful. Any other instructor would definitely be choked. Chapter 15. Director Zhong? Huh? What are those? Just as Lin Qingjun was about to open his mouth to say something, he suddenly noticed several red shadows approaching quickly from the front. Buzz whoosh phew ha ha ha, a hot current hit me in the face. Lin Qingjun looked closely. It was a person wearing scarlet armor, carrying a 1.5-meter-long scarlet cube on his back. Moreover, these people ran in a strange posture. It was more like crawling than running. With both feet and hands on the ground, he crawled quickly forward. As for this crawling posture, it is somewhat similar to the movement of a strange snake or lizard running on the water. It was so weird with its mouth open, tongue sticking out and breathing heavily. At this time, several female students who were also wearing red leather armor ran over with stones on their backs. The female students were not as open as the male students, and it was normal for them to run with stones on their backs. But seeing the calm expressions of the other veteran students, it was obvious that they had been through this before. Wow, what happened to them? Are they being punished? That's terrible. No, I heard from people who came out of the contracted academy that there are special ways to refine the body there. Ah, is there such a way to train your body? You'll fall down after running a few steps like this. Some classmates behind me talked about it. Zhong Feng laughed a few times and said, "Once you have tried this method of body training, you will know that although it is very tiring, it is only done twice a week, so it won't be very tiring." Teacher, are you sure you are really tired and not so tired that you can't move the next day? Lin Qingjun said with a strange look on his face. He just used his time and space ability to take a look, and these people didn't stop until late at night. When they stopped, they were almost paralyzed. Anyway, you will know after you experience it. Zhong Feng did not give any detailed description of these things. But Lin Qingjun did feel that there must be something fishy going on. If you keep silent, you are either cheating others, or there is a big trap waiting for you. Hey, Mr. Zhong, why do other teachers call you Big Cannon? Lin Qingjun asked in confusion. Cough, cough. Zhong Feng rolled his eyes and almost choked to death. What kind of student is this? I have never seen a student who is so good at exposing other people's shortcomings. Lin Qingjun felt bored when he saw Zhong Feng kept silent. This tutor was also a shy person. If even this little secret is revealed, is there still any teacher-student relationship left? After walking for a while, Lin Qingjun asked again, "Teacher Zhong, what is your contracted spirit? It's not a cannon, right? Impact run, or laser run, or a cannon, or a scrape run." Zhong Feng, F***K. Can we still be a good teacher and student? You are just rubbing salt into the wound. Hey, isn't it because the child is very curious? Teacher Zhong should satisfy the student's request. I'm not saying anything bad about you, but as a student, do you still have respect for your teachers? Why are you talking so much nonsense? Zhong Feng pinched his ear with his orchid fingers and said, "Oh, Don't you have too many secrets, teacher? I'm just curious. By the way, teacher, we have been walking for such a long time, and you haven't told us where we are going? F***K. You've confused me. I should go to the student registration office to register you now. As he spoke, there was a flash of light in his hand, and a brush about 40 centimeters long appeared. Teacher, my contracted spirit is an A-level Shu Yin pin, which is used for auxiliary purposes. As he spoke, he drew a line in the air and said, Statement. Speed. Then write the word speed in the air. What is shocking is that there is no ink in the pin, but it can write words with ink. The word speed fell on the feet of several people. Zhongfeng said, Children, don't get lost. After saying that, he jumped out with a whoosh. Ah, bang. Just as Lin Qingjun took a step forward, his other foot followed closely. Then he started running, but because he was running too fast, he crashed into the wall. F***K. Teacher Zhong, you are too unreliable. Lin Qing got up from the ground, took a step forward, then took another step forward and ran out. The same was true for the other 4 students. Half a minute later, Lin Qingjun finally mastered this amplification skill. As for the other 4 students, they were still wrestling on the spot. On the rooftop of a classroom building, Zhongfeng couldn't help but nod secretly as he watched Lin Qingjun master the skill so quickly. Such mastery is not enough to bury the life of an SS-level genius. The amplification skill he just used would be unsuccessful even if a Wuling-level warrior used it at the beginning, let alone Lin Qingjun, who was only at the initial 3rd level. Everyone often says that as long as you are lucky enough to summon a powerful and talented contract spirit, you think it is really good luck. You know, since ancient times, the level of the contract spirit has been linked to its own potential. Lu Xining landed beside him and said, Hard work is part of it, but without the slightest bit of talent, how can you be determined to grow? Lu Xining looked at Lin Qingjun's back and said, You only need to teach him the knowledge of cultivation. The rest will be taken care of by the ancient power next to him. Zhongfeng nodded, turned and left. Below, Lin Qingjun was running forward when he suddenly discovered a problem. I don't even know where Mr. Zhong is. Just as he rushed forward mindlessly, the speed symbols on his feet disappeared. His running speed disappeared completely, and then he suddenly fell to the ground. Slid forward a few meters. What the hell? My beautiful face is disfigured. Who the hell did that to me? Bump. As soon as he finished speaking, a fat fist hit him on the head. Boy, what are you talking about? Oh, Mr. Zhong, didn't you go to the registration office? I've done it. Now follow me to the classroom. After saying that, he walked forward. Lin Qingjun hurried forward and said, Teacher Zhong, do you have any healing skills? My handsome face is ruined like this. TSK, it will be fine in a few days. Why do you need any healing skills? Several people came to the door of the classroom. Lin Qingjun looked up at Class 2 and said, Damn it, Mr. Zhong, the 2nd grade class doesn't suit my temperament. I want to change the class card. Get lost. Go ask the principal if you want a class change badge. Oh, that's all right. When I entered the classroom, I found it was an ordinary classroom. Lin Qingjun found a seat in the middle and sat down. Shitty sat down next to him. There were only 5 chairs and benches in this class, and sure D occupied one, so there was one less seat. A student stood there not knowing what to do, looking extremely embarrassed. Take mine and sit on it. I always stand when I teach anyway. Zhongfeng gave him his chair. The student was immediately moved and excitedly went up to take the chair down. Zhongfeng said, You guys come and introduce yourselves first. When he saw Lin Qingjun slowly stand up, he simply picked up the blackboard eraser and threw it over. Oh, sit down. You are already a school celebrity. You don't need to introduce yourself. Teacher, you are treating me differently. But Zhongfeng ignored him and pointed at the boy who had just been in a useless position and said, Let's start with you. The student stood up, walked to the podium, and said a little stiffly, Hello, everyone. My name is Wenmengda, male, and my contracted spirit is an A-level cold water heavenly wolf with some heavenly wolf blood. Ability, ice, water. Please take care of me in the future. Sirius is the king of wolves. Anyone with Sirius blood has the blood of the king of wolves. If they can revert to being Sirius, their strength will be even more terrifying. Lin Qingjun smiled and said, Everyone here is male, so there's no need to mention gender. Upon hearing this, everyone looked at Emperor Shi. And behind the latter, several iron chains appeared at some point, whipping the air madly. It makes people's teeth ache just looking at it. Okay, next one, Zhongfeng said. When Mengda walked down, and then a young man with buck teeth walked out. The boy put on glasses, and his buck teeth disappeared. From being reserved at the beginning, he became calm and composed. Lin Qingjun couldn't help but exclaimed when he saw this scene, and said, "Other people's eyes seal their appearance, but your glasses are a lock that opens a serious problem. Haha, you're kidding, brother. My name is Yu Yunlong, and my contracted spirit is an A-level queen ant. As long as there are enough resources and food, I will have countless ant soldiers." As he was speaking, an ant queen half a person's height appeared beside him, with a round belly. Lin Qingjun exclaimed, "Oh, it's a very powerful contracted spirit. What is its supernatural power? If this person grows up, those tens of thousands of large ants will not be a small number. The supernatural power is a poison called formic acid. Please take good care of me in the future." There are many kinds of superpowers, and special superpowers are those other than the long-term knowledge of the 5 elements. After Yu Yunlong walked down, Yu Ling came up alone. He said, "My name is Luo Penghao, and my contracted spirit is the A-level Feng Peng, with a trace of Kuan Peng's blood. My supernatural power is wind, so please take care of me in the future." He walked down and another person walked up and said, "My name is Qian Hongjia. My contracted spirit is the weapon soul Tongbao Qian. It has defensive and auxiliary abilities. It should be ordinary, but if I have to say it is extraordinary, it's good luck to be able to. Ordinary superpowers mean that the contracted spirit has no attributes. And my personal hobby is looking at pretty little girls. Hey, we are like-minded. I like looking at girls too." Lin Qingjun's eyes lit up. Could it be that you are also one of us?" Qian Hongjia said in a serious tone. "I thought there was no one in this class who was not serious except me and the teacher, but I didn't expect there was someone who was not serious. Zhongfeng, a him? Who says there are no more? I also love looking at girls, especially the ones with graceful figures, hee. Luo Penghao smiled evilly. "Brother, you are telling lies. Who doesn't like those with graceful figures?" Yu Yunlong shook his head, pointed his thumb at his chest and said, "Just like me, I like pregnant women." Zhongfeng had a black line on his forehead. Cough, cough, cough. "Damn it, your excellency is dressed like a beast." When Mengda said, "Can you be like me and only love beautiful women?" "Hey, Thief Chow, that's not your name. Damn it, I just realized it now. Isn't your mother's name called Thief Chow?" No wonder. Lin Qingjun looked at Wen Mengda's surprised and confused expression. Qian Hongjia walked down, moved a stool and came closer, saying, "Brother, what is a Chow thief?" "I don't know. Please let me know." Wen Mengda and others also came over and said, That's right, that's right. If the elder brother doesn't explain clearly, the younger brother will have trouble sleeping and eating." Lin Qingjun said, "He is a tycoon in troubled times. He only likes to seize other people's wives. He is AB asterisk 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 D. He is AB asterisk 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 D in front of true love people. But in the eyes of the inheritors of Chow's thief, he is a leader-like figure." On the side, Emperor sure couldn't help but move his position further away. Looking at these people's eyes, there is only contempt. Things of a kind gather together, and people divide into groups. This person is not worthy of being my master at all. On the podium, the veins on Zhongfeng's forehead popped out. Cough, 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 cough. Don't these people take me as a mentor seriously? We actually openly talked about say stuff, and we didn't even talk about teacher me. Is there any other way to do this? Damn it, who's coughing and suffering from diabetes? Why don't you go drink some dichlorvos? Qian Hongjia took out a DVD from his pocket, smiled evilly and said, "I have 36 passionate moves. Do you want it?" But before anyone could say anything, a big hand reached over, took it away, and then quietly kicked it into his pocket. Damn it, why did we forget about Teacher Zhong? "Oh, I'll go." Lin Qingjun slapped his head and said. Qian Hongjia smiled coquettishly and said, "Zhong, Master Zhong, do you want to watch it together? Look at you big-headed idiot. It's wrong to go home. It's class time now. Sit back down." "Oh, Teacher Zhong, are you sure you don't want to discuss the development of knowledge together? Go on, Mata. Get out." Zhongfeng scolded directly. "Quiet, you 5 little bastards, just 5 of you, are noisier than 50 people whispering. That's for sure. We talked openly, not in whispers." "I'm sorry." As soon as Luo Penghao finished speaking, he saw Zhongfeng looking over and immediately shut up. "Now let's talk about it. Tomorrow is the official start of school. Come to this classroom tomorrow. In the morning, we will talk about cultivation theory, and in the afternoon we will talk about the difference between ferocious beasts and beast contract spirits. Then there are the rules in the academy. There are no rules in the academy. The only rule is that you are not allowed to die or become disabled. Everything in the academy depends on points, and everything you eat, drink, and sleep depends on points. There are only these ways to earn points. 1. Steal other students' points. 2. Student rankings will give points according to ranking every week. 3. Exchange the flesh and blood of alien beasts and inner elixirs, or keep the alien beasts alive for yourself to rest. 3. Go work and earn points, or earn points like other students. As new students, you will have a protection mechanism for the first 2 weeks, unless you break through the Dao Cocoon realm and cancel the protection mechanism in advance. This is your student token. Keep it on your body. With that said, Zhong Feng threw 5 badges to them. Then he said, your things have been put intact in your residence. We have never checked them, and we have not opened our minds, thinking that everything we can bring in can be brought in at the college. As for the place to stay, it will be up to you whether you can keep it or not after 2 weeks. Let's go. Get out of class is over. But none of the 5 people moved, but looked at him eagerly. Zhong Feng turned around and said, what's wrong? Is there anything else? Tell me quickly. Qin Hongjie stretched out his hand and said, Pian Minter, my piece. Before he could finish a word, Zhong Feng disappeared. Holy crap. This tutor is so unreliable. He actually stole my film. I paid a lot of money to get it. Qin Hongjie said frantically. Chapter 16. Lin Qingjun patted his shoulder and said, my condolences. We have to spend the night like this. What? I still have 1,001 pieces. If you want, I can give you 360 pieces. Qin Hongjie said this and took out a stack of 20 notes from his pocket. Wow, where did you get so many pieces? Aren't there many duplicates? You're overthinking. I still haven't seen a lot of them. Do you want me to sell them at a lower price? Really? Forget it. I plan to quit. Lin Qingjun shook his head and said. Qin Hongjie and others looked at Emperor Shi behind them and smiled meaningfully at the same time. Yes, we all understand. Everyone understands. TSK. You guys understand without understanding anything? You're kidding. Lin Qingjun said as he walked out of the classroom. Shidi followed closely behind him. It would be great if I could also contract a beautiful humanoid spirit. I can accept even a D-level one. Luo Penghao sighed. Then you want to go. There are very few humanoid contract spirits, let alone D-level ones. Even ugly humanoid ones are pitifully rare. Qin Hongjie waved his hand and said, besides, it is said that our contracted spirits can also transform, so we have to reach a very high level to defeat them. Lin Qingjun was looking at the map that Professor Zhong had given him as he walked back to his residence. My brother said that at first the school would assign students independent housing, but after 2 weeks other old students will come to grab the house. As long as you can hold on, you will know that the house is still yours. If you can't hold on, it will be snatched away by those students. And the accommodation level will be determined according to the student's contracted spirit level. Oh, here we are. After saying this, he looked up and saw a luxurious villa. Oh, I love this villa. Lin Qingjun took out the key and rushed over. Open the door and you will see a clean and tidy living room. Lin Qingjun went in and took a look around and couldn't help but nod. The overall design was Central European style. Put everything in the living room into your bedroom. Sitting on the sofa, I saw Shidi kneeling on the sofa and practicing. Sensing someone approaching, he opened his eyes. Seeing that the person coming was Lin Qingjun, he immediately stood up and walked away from him. Lin Qingjun, what the hell did I do? Is it necessary to be like this? Unbearable, vulgar, disgusting, scum. Not worthy of being my master at all. The series of hurtful words pierced deeply into Lin Qingjun's heart. You actually treated your master like this? I'm so sad, snort. The emperor turned his head away and said nothing. Seeing her like this, Lin Qingjun pursed his lips and felt uncomfortable inside. Boom, boom, boom. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Lin Qingjun was a little confused. Who would come to see me at this time? Get up and go to open the door. I saw 2 men standing at the door, and they said arrogantly, boy, your house looks pretty good. We'll give you 2 weeks to prepare. Move out after 2 weeks. Otherwise, we'll seize it by force. At that time, let's see if you still have the face to stay in the West Courtyard. Stupid 13. Lin Qingjun said this calmly and closed the door heavily. The 2 people outside the door looked at each other and then spat on the ground. Damn it. What are you so arrogant about? Wait and see if you are still so arrogant in 2 weeks. If I find out, I will kill you. That's it, let's go. After saying that, the two walked away and headed towards the next house. Lin Qingjun walked forward and sat down. Ah, two idiots actually want me to move out. What do you say I should do? Just crush them to death. They are just ants. How dare a bunch of you occupy my territory? Sure D stood up, and several chains appeared behind him and waved continuously. The corners of Lin Qingjun's mouth twitched. After spending these days together, he also learned about the knowledge of the space-time behemoths. Yuzi means stupid or foolish, and their territorial awareness is even stronger than that of tigers. Anyone who touches their things will be fought to the death. By the way, what's the use of the chain behind you? The Emperor of Time sat down and said, it is used to capture Yuzi who destroys the order of time and space. This item can not only imprison time and space, but also has many other uses. This item was born with the birth of my clan. That's great, if only. Boom, boom, boom. Before he could finish his words, there was another knock on the door. Damn it, who is this kid again? Lin Qingjun walked forward and opened the door, cursing. When he found out that the person coming was Li Bai, his mood immediately became much better. Tai Bai, how do you know I'm here? Lin Qingjun asked in surprise. This is the freshman dormitory area. Everyone has their own house, and your house is better than mine. I knew you were here. Li Bai smiled and said, you were cursing just now. Did those two people ruin your plans? Lin Qingjun was stunned. From what you said, they also harassed you? These people are lackeys, and they have people behind them. Li Bai walked inside and said, those people are so useless, just like the salted fish in the cocoon's solid state, just messing around in the academy all day long. They entered the academy in the first half of the year. They have been practicing in this academy where time is slowed down for about a year. They are really useless in the cocoon solid state. Lin Qingjun nodded and asked, by the way, you should be from a wealthy family, right? Don't you have any elders like brothers or sisters to take care of you? Them? They were sent out by the academy to gain experience. Li Bai looked around and asked, is there any tea? Lin Qingjun shrugged and said, young people, who would drink that? Also, what kind of experience are you talking about? That's right. What kind of tea do young people drink? Li Bai leaned on the sofa and said, inside, you practice in this academy for a year, and then you are sent out to gain experience. You can report to the Yuqing Guard Division, or you can go to being a mercenary outside the city is almost enough. You can work for 3 years and then come back to practice. At that time, the resources of the academy will be truly tilted. Go out and gain experience. My brother seems to have been working in Yuqing Guard Bureau for a year and a half after leaving the campus. Lin Qingjun touched it and thought for a while. When you say you're going out to train, it actually means you're reducing resources and gathering resources to prepare for them. But when you come back and your strength reaches the Tongling realm, you won't get any benefit at all. Oh, is this a secret? I don't think it will affect me if I hear it. How could that be? It's not a secret. It's getting late. Let's go have dinner. Walk. The three of them came to the cafeteria and took a deep breath when they looked at the clean and tidy environment. I hope the cafeteria lady here doesn't have trembling hands. HHH, that's right. Take your tray and walk to the food pickup area. Suddenly, my eyelids couldn't help but twitch a few times. Chapter 17. Auntie, why is it all meat? Lin Qingjun couldn't help but ask. The aunt scooped up a spoonful of meat and put it on the plate, saying, hey, young man, this is low-level exotic beast meat. Eating it will make your physical fitness much better. Lin Qingjun had no choice but to happily carry the plate of meat away. On the way, he saw a somewhat expensive dessert, thought about it, and ordered one. Oh, a meal costs 40 points. Do you think it's worth it? Why is it so expensive? It's free for 2 weeks, Li Bai said while eating the meat. However, the higher the quality of the exotic beast meat, the better. Exotic beast meat contains a lot of energy that can improve physical fitness. Lin Qingjun nodded, looked at Sure Di who was standing beside him and said, aren't you going to eat? The emperor sure snorted and said, how can I eat such low-grade flesh and blood? Okay. Don't cry when you're hungry. When they were halfway there, Li Bai discovered that Lin Qingjun had been staring at him for a long time. I couldn't help but turn my head to look over there. I saw nothing. Hey, what are you looking at? Why are you so fascinated? Lin Qingjun put a spoonful of rice into his mouth and said, the fact that you didn't see it proves that your eyesight is not good. Hey, I want to see what you're looking at. He turned his head and looked behind him, one by one, and finally he was amazed. Oh my God, those breasts are so big. Because in front of these two people, a girl with big wavy blonde hair was walking towards them. Then he sat down in the empty seat next to them. The two men stared at the girl with big wavy blonde hair without blinking. Shirdi also noticed this scene, looked at the girl with big wavy blonde hair, then looked down at himself. There is absolutely no comparison. I actually lost. At this time, the companion of the girl with big wavy blonde hair came over and saw two handsome men staring at their sisters without blinking. Suddenly, I felt contempt in my heart. How can you behave so filthy when you look like a decent person? The woman said. Lin Qingjun raised his head and looked at her and said, What's the matter? I can't watch it, no. It seems that I can't watch it, but who cares? We men are naturally lustful. What's wrong with looking at a beautiful woman or someone older a few times? Is it not okay? Isn't it normal? You. The woman was speechless for a moment. People say that they are lustful. What else can I say about them? Li Taibai bowed and said, Oh, brother. You are really a wonderful person, HH. Lin Qingjun also returned the greeting. Ah, thank you for the compliment. The woman was furious. Suddenly, she saw a beautiful girl sitting next to Lin Qingjun. She said, Oh, there are other women around you. Why do you still look at others? Are you worthy of her? Lin Qingjun looked at Shirdi, then pointed at himself and said, Me, ha ha ha, sister. Have you ever heard of the saying that your own fragrance will never be as good as someone else's? You? The woman was angry again. When she wanted to say something, the blonde girl with big curly hair pulled her and said, Xiaochun, stop talking. If you keep talking, more people will watch me and more people will look at me. I'm used to being looked at by others. The woman was speechless. It was true. With a girl with big wavy blonde hair and a figure like that, basically everyone would take a second look at her. You guys are lucky. Sha, let's go. The woman named Xiaochun didn't insist any further and left with the girl with big wavy blonde hair. Wait until these two people get lucky. Li Taibai asked, Do you think that physique is D or E? Stop. Lin Qingjun raised his hand to stop him, saying, It is not good to talk about people behind their backs. Li Taibai nodded. Apart from being a bit lustful, Lin Qingjun had good character. However, the next second, first eliminate C. I think it's somewhere between D and E. Fifth, didn't you agree not to talk about people behind their backs? After eating, the three of them walked around the campus to familiarize themselves with the environment. Li Taibai looked around and said, Do you feel that the number of people turning back to look at us has increased? Lin Qingjun picked his nose and said, People should know themselves. They are obviously looking at me. Ku. Are you sure you're not looking at your contracted spirit? Ahem. Using the approximate method, they are just looking at me. It's a bit unbearable. Ha ha ha. After a brief stroll, the two separated. Back to the villa. Lin Qingjun stretched lazily and then lay down on the sofa. Looking at the ceiling, he murmured, Classes will officially start tomorrow. Gurgle, an untimely cry was heard. Lin Qingjun looked up and grinned. What did I say? You must be hungry now. Snort. Shirdi turned his head away with a slightly red face. Lin Qingjun took out a dessert from the cafeteria from his pocket and asked, Do you want to eat it? Don't tell me those tuna bunny things. Just eat when I tell you to. Without waiting for her to finish her words, Lin Qingjun forcefully stuffed the dessert into her arms. Then, he went to the kitchen and took out a bag of noodles he brought from home. Started cooking. Shitty looked at the dessert in his arms, swallowed his saliva and said, My lord has a contractual order. I cannot resist, so just eat it. Then I opened the package and started eating it in small bites. The first bite was immediately eye-opening. Not bad. Not long after, Lin Qingjun came over with a bowl of plain noodles and said, Eat it while it's hot. Shirdi nodded and did not resist this time. Open your little mouth. The next day, Lin Qingjun and other students from Class 2 had already arrived in the classroom, waiting for Zhongfeng's arrival. Zhongfeng didn't arrive until 8 o'clock. Lin Qingjun said, Teacher, you are too late. Hey, why are you here so early? Don't you know you have to get up at 8 o'clock? Zhongfeng laughed. Hey, teacher, I'm going to fight you to the death. Stop me now. Luo Pinghao stood up and said. But he found that no one held him back, so he sat down awkwardly. Okay, now let's start learning how to practice. Here it comes. The 5 students sat up straight and listened attentively. Zhongfeng picked up the chalk and wrote 6 big words on the blackboard. How to get started with cultivation. Putting down the chalk, he said, As everyone knows, we cannot practice on our own. We cannot absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. and we cannot absorb the inner elixir of strange beasts. Speaking of this, we have to talk about our contracted spirits. When the contracted spirit is summoned by us, it will sign a master-servant contract with us at the beginning and cannot betray its master. So how do we practice? Now we have to rely on the contracted spirit. The contracted spirit absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, devours the inner core of strange beasts, and then feeds the purified energy back to our body, thereby changing our body. But Chapter 18. However, our bodies cannot absorb energy endlessly. Once the energy reaches a critical point, if we continue to absorb it, we will not break through the realm but explode and die. Zhong Feng stood on the podium with one hand behind his back and the other hand constantly waving. Lin Qingjun raised his hand and said, "Teacher, why didn't he break through the realm but died by exploding? Isn't this contradictory?" Snoring, Zhong Feng took a sip of tea and then said, "This is also what we have been puzzled about. According to common sense, when the spiritual energy in the body accumulates to a certain level, it will break through to the next level. But he just doesn't follow common sense. Every day, there are people who don't believe in it and keep absorbing his energy, and the final result is that he explodes and dies. After a long period of reasoning, we believe that this is a problem in our body." Lin Qingjun nodded secretly, confirming that every time the Emperor of Time began to absorb energy, his body would feel bloated and painful. However, this situation will not occur if you continue practicing after resting for a few days. Then how do we improve our realm? When Ida raised his hand, the others nodded in unison. This was the question they wanted to know most. It's very simple to improve your realm. Just let the countless energies wash over your limbs and bones. When your body reaches a certain level and can hold enough energy, it will break through the bottleneck in your body. Yoshi, got it? Lin Qingjun touched his chin and said, "You know nothing. If you only know how to practice, but don't know how to practice quickly, you are still inferior to others." Zhong Feng picked up a piece of chalk and threw it, hitting Lin Qingjun on the forehead. The latter rubbed his forehead and asked, "Then how can Master Zhong quickly improve his training speed?" "It's very simple. Just consume the energy in your body, and then replenish it with the contracted spirit." Zhong Feng pointed at Lin Qingjun's forehead with his orchid finger. Lin Qingjun was stunned. The other four were also stunned. Roar, roar, is this really possible? Why is that unreasonable? Zhong Feng looked at the time and said, "It's still early." After some thought, I decided to spend the whole day today explaining the cultivation aspects. As for the course on the exotic beasts, I will put it off until tomorrow. After saying that, he raised his hand, and the Shuyan pin appeared in his hand, and then he waved the pin. 5 sets of black, heavy leather armor appeared at his feet. Zhong Feng picked up a set of leather armor and said, "This leather armor is made of special materials. It will absorb the energy in the human body and then become hotter and hotter, enough to achieve the effect of body refining. Moreover, the energy absorbed will become faster and faster as time goes by, until the energy in the human body is exhausted." Lin Qingjun and the other 4 looked carefully and were suddenly shocked. "Hey, isn't this the clothing those people who were running around the academy with big red squares on their backs yesterday were wearing? It was actually black at first. The weird running postures of those people yesterday really shocked Wu for a while. But I didn't expect to have to wear this today. Come on, put it on, kids. You are weak, so you don't have to carry the stone." Zhong Feng faced everyone with a smile, holding a set of black leather armor. "Stop!" Lin Qingjun hurriedly called a halt and said, "Teacher Zhong, if you are torturing us like this, what about our contracted spirits? What should we do?" Yes. How do we do it?" The other 4 nodded in unison. Zhong Feng held the pin and waved it, and beads fell to the ground. "Your contracted spirits are only responsible for eating and providing you with energy. Damn, is it necessary to have such a big difference in treatment?" The 5 people wailed. Zhong Feng grabbed the leather armor and threw it on the faces of several people, saying, "Damn it, if you can absorb the inner core of the alien beast, you may not be able to eat it, so put it on, otherwise I will kill you." Yes. Lin Qingjun and others put on the leather armor reluctantly. The moment the leather armor was put on, several people instantly felt the energy in their bodies being drained away bit by bit. "Oh my god, I can really absorb it." The 5 people looked at their hands in disbelief. "That mentor." Qin Hongjie raised his hand and said, "Their contracted spirits all have mouths and can swallow the inner elixir of strange beasts. What about my contracted spirit?" He has no mouth and is only a copper coin. How can I? Absorbing the inner elixir of a strange beast? Zhong Feng said, the reason why the weapon soul contract spirit is called weapon soul is because it has a soul, so it is called weapon soul. Qin Hongjie summoned his copper coin and asked, weapon soul? Where is it? If you have a spiritual connection with your little copper coin, a spirit will appear. As Zhong Feng spoke, he raised his hand, and ink began to flow out from the pin in his hand. Then a little man made of ink appeared and sat on the pin. This is the soul, or it can be called the spirit of an instrument. Zhong Feng touched the ink man's head and said, you try it? Qin Hongjie nodded and began to communicate with the copper coin spirit. While he was communicating, Lin Qingjun asked, teacher, is your weapon soul male or female? Zhong Feng frowned and said, a weapon soul is a weapon soul. How can there be any difference between male and female? Teacher, are you sure? What am I sure of? Are you sure that your spirit has no gender and not that it has not grown up? K. Can you think more normally? Zhong Feng glared at Lin Qingjun and said, buzz. Not long after, a golden light flashed on Qin Hongjie's copper plate, and a little man covered in golden light appeared. Why don't weapon spirits have faces? Lin Qingjun asked doubtfully. Why the hell do you care so much? Go and run around the playground all day. Zhong Feng threw several people out. Lin Qingjun and others got up from the ground and ran along the playground in front of them. They could also feel that a small half of the energy in their bodies had been absorbed by the leather armor. Their contracted spirits were eating the inner elixirs of exotic beasts on the playground while looking at their masters. The Emperor of Time rolled up half of the strange beast's inner elixir and walked away from the crowd. Zhong Feng floated above the 5 people and said, this is also a time to train tacit understanding with the contracted spirits. How to perfectly utilize the inner elixir of the alien beasts is also a kind of training, blah blah. As time goes by, the leather armor absorbs more and more energy and its temperature rises accordingly. 3 hours later, Shichichi, now the leather armor has turned red, constantly burning their flesh. After being washed by leather armor and energy, and cleansing their bodies on both sides, their physical strength increased little by little. I say, Minter, we have been running for a few hours, can we stop now? Lin Qingjun panted, but they run quite fast, because the energy constantly replenished in their bodies keeps them from slowing down. As the saying goes, I am physically tired, but my spirit won't allow me to stop. Zhong Feng shook his head and said, you're done after just 3 hours? I ran for half a day back then. Tisk. It's easier to talk while standing. Chapter 19. Lin Qingjun glanced at Shirdi, standing beside him, and found that he was looking at him indifferently. There was no expression on that delicate face. Tisk. Lin Qingjun lowered his head, swallowed his saliva, and lunged forward, landing on his hands and feet, then quickly crawled forward. What's wrong with this guy? Why is he running so fast? Luo Pinghao looked at the 3 people beside him and said. Yu Yunlong shook his head and said, I don't know. Maybe this is the pride of a genius. Goddamn pride. And pride doesn't look like this. Luo Pinghao was speechless. Zhong Feng on the side looked at Lin Qingjun, nodded, and murmured in a low voice. Good boy. You let go so quickly. Until 6 o'clock in the evening. Zhong Feng asked the 5 people to stop. Finally, I can finally stop. Qin Hongjie and the other 3 stopped and took off their red leather armor. After Lin Qingjun finished the last lap, he stopped and knelt on the ground, gasping for breath. I'm going to die. I'm going. Luo Pinghao stepped forward and helped him up, saying, who told you to rush so fast? You will definitely not be able to get up tomorrow, I tell you. Lin Qingjun looked down and grinned. You two? Your legs are shaking, and you won't be able to get up tomorrow either. Zhong Feng stepped forward and said seriously, that's all for today. But what I must say is that you must take good care of the contracted spirit and treat it as a confidant and a relative, because not only cultivation, but also life is at stake, closely related to the contract spirit. If the contracted spirit dies, you will also become disabled and become a useless person. Moreover, once the contracted spirits kill their master, you will die, but they will not. They will continue to live in the world. Every year, there are people who treat contracted spirits as servants or dogs, and the final outcome is death. Lin Qingjun was shocked. Is there such a thing? Then, isn't there a contract? Can the contract spirit violate the contract? When Mengda said in disbelief, Zhong Feng's expression remained serious. The contract is based on your kindness to me, so I will be your servant wholeheartedly, But if you treat the life of the contracted spirit as an ant, you can imagine the consequences. Ding ding ding, the sound of chains came from the side. Everyone turned around and saw Emperor Shi coming up with several chains. Tie Lin Qingjun up with chains and leave. Do you think Lin Qingjun's contracted spirit will kill its master? Luo Pinghao said in a low voice. I don't think it's possible. Don't you see what kind of person Lin Qingjun is? He is such a B******************. Ahem, well, it's time for you to go back. After Zhong Feng finished speaking, he left. Shidi walked forward without saying a word. Lin Qingjun was dragged in the air, looking at the already dark sky. What I was thinking about in my mind were Zhong Feng's words. The contracted spirit will kill its master. Speaking of Lord killing, he thought of the night 10 days ago. Shi broke free from the constraints of the contract, pinned him to the ground, and looked at him with infinite murderous intent in his eyes. Put me down, I can walk. Emperor Shi didn't say anything, and just let him go. Lin Qingjun took 2 steps forward and almost fell. He looked at Shidi and smiled shyly. Come and help me? Humph. With such low strength, why bother to show off? An iron chain stretched out from behind Shidi to support him. When Lin Qingjun arrived at the cafeteria, he saw that they were cleaning and preparing to close. Auntie, there's no food. I haven't eaten all day, the aunt said embarrassedly. Hey young man, young people nowadays have big appetites, and there are many people who are hungry like you. Lin Qingjun nodded, and when he was about to leave, he noticed a dessert not far away. Pointing at the dessert, he said, Auntie, give me this. The aunt was also generous and gave it directly to Lin Qingjun. Walk out of the cafeteria and head towards the residence. Lin Qingjun handed the dessert to Shi and asked, Do you want to eat it? Shi snorted softly, took the food from Lin Qingjun and ate it in small bites without saying a word. At that time, Master Zhong said that the contracted spirits would kill their masters. Would you kill me if you had the chance? Lin Qingjun said something out of the blue. The Emperor Shi paused for a long time before saying, Lord, if you make me lose my power, I will lose my freedom, so I will miss you. Ah, Lin Qingjun sighed. So I have contracted a time bomb. Shidi looked at the dessert in his hand and said, At least I don't really want to kill the Lord now. Ha ha ha. After returning to his residence, Lin Qingjun lay on the sofa until he had enough strength before going to the kitchen to cook noodles. After eating noodles, I took a shower and sat on the sofa. I glanced at the time, and it was still early at 9 o'clock. He looked at Shi and asked, Sure, what do you think of Master Zhong's training method? The latter pondered for a while and said, At least in this world, it is suitable for you humans. In other cultivation civilizations, those humans do not need contracted spirits to practice on their own. F***K. Is God treating me differently? Lin Qingjun stood up and started cursing. This is simply discriminatory treatment. Why do people in other worlds just meditate and practice to endlessly absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and they have to worry about exploding and dying and work themselves to death? It's so G unfair. After a while, Lin Qingjun sat down and said, Do you have any cultivation method similar to today? Absorbing the inner elixir of the alien beast, and then the energy entering my body is perfectly utilized. The emperor was silent for a while, then nodded and said, Yes, nurture the divine body. Nurture the Lord's mortal body into a divine body. In other words, those people not only need to improve their realm but also temper their physique. The spiritual energy is huge, and this world of the Lord is mainly used to temper the body, and the excess spiritual energy is completely wasted. Lin Qingjun's eyes lit up and he asked, Then how do we do it? I absorb the inner energy and feed it back to you, and you gather that energy into your eyes. Then you follow the instructions I give you. The Emperor Shi had an idea and passed on a method of practicing pupil techniques to Lin Qingjun. The latter blinked, twitched his mouth and said, What? What is this? Why doesn't this technique have a name? The Emperor of Time snorted. This is the most supreme pupil technique of my sacred beast of time and space. Why does it need a name? Then why train the eyes instead of the body? Because my Lord's body has been cultivated to the immortal God realm, his body will naturally transform into an immortal God body, and the eyes will bring supreme benefits after the transformation. But although it is the highest pupil technique, every member of the tribe can practice it, and outsiders cannot practice it without our guidance. Yoshi, so that's how it is. Lin Qingjun nodded and said, Then let's get started. The Emperor Shi looked into Lin Qingjun's eyes and said, There is no inner elixir of the exotic beast. Then use the Dragon Balls. As Lin Qingjun spoke, he took out a Dragon Ball from the room and stuffed it into Shidi's arms. Chapter 20. Come on, let's get started. Lin Qingjun asked excitedly, what will happen if this eye is cultivated to perfection? Will there be a perspective function? It makes me excited just thinking about it. Gaga. Shidi looked at the Dragon Ball in his arms, was silent for a while, and decided to start practicing. As long as you control the degree well, nothing unexpected will happen. The two of them calmed their minds and began to practice. As energy entered his body, Lin Qingjun guided the energy into his eyes according to the method given by Emperor. Then Lin Qingjun felt a strange cool feeling emanating from his eyes. It felt like putting your eyes into clear water, soft and not harmful to the eyes. But then the coolness turned into heat, as if I had seen something I shouldn't have seen. Cough, cough. It feels as hot as putting a hot water bottle on your eyes. But this didn't last long and calm was restored. The voice of the Emperor of Time sounded, Master, if you want to master it, you must travel through time and space, and face different lives from your own perspective. And you need to stabilize your mind and not let it confuse your mind. Lin Qingjun didn't wait for a reaction when he heard the words. His eyes blurred and he found himself looking up at the sky, his body falling rapidly. From the corner of my eye, I could see the surrounding scene rapidly pulling upwards. How could he not understand after seeing this? The self in this time and space line jumped off the building. His face suddenly changed and he yelled, F***K. Then he fell to the ground with a thud and turned into a puddle of pulp. Huh? Who? Lin Qingjun suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, F***K. Then he touched his body randomly. I was relieved to find that I was still intact. I'm going. I thought I was dead. I'm going. Lin Qingjun looked at the time, and it was already 11 o'clock. It was just like an experience I just went through. It was just a matter of a moment, but how could it have consumed so much time? When he looked up, he found Shidi sitting opposite him, looking at him. That expression clearly said, that's it? Haha, I said I was unlucky. That old man jumped off the building and died. Lin Qingjun laughed. The Emperor snorted lightly and turned his head away without saying anything. Hey, if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how powerful I am as your master, right? Lin Qingjun was filled with anger and ferocity. He pounced forward and pressed Shidi down on the sofa. My lord, you cannot. There was obvious panic on Shidi's delicate face. Lin Qingjun chuckled, then said to her face, Today, I will let people understand what it means to respect others. Shidi widened his eyes. He was kissed again. In the morning, Lin Qingjun opened his eyes drowsily. He did nothing last night. No, when he was about to do something, Shidi instinctively turned into a cat and escaped Lin Qingjun's clutches. I got up, tidied myself up, and went to the classroom. This continued for 2 weeks. At the same time, Zhongfeng would often provide the 5 people with knowledge about exotic beasts, or directly capture some low-level exotic beasts for the 5 people to fight. After several battles, Lin Qingjun also figured out his own combat power and the level of his skills. His current strength is already at the peak of the 3rd level, and he is just a little bit away from breaking through to the cocoon soldier level. After all, there is a 2-week protection mechanism for new students. No one wants to miss out on 2 weeks of free food and drinks, right? Next is the skills. There are several skills now, but they are all auxiliary skills. Time and space line. Activities within 10 minutes in the past and future. But every minute and every second consumes the power of time and space. And when the power of time and space is used up, it will return to its original position. Moreover, as long as the power of time and space is sufficient and the strength is strong, one can take the initiative to take action against others in the future. Even kill the other party. Explore time and space. Consume the power of time and space to explore the future and go back. It consumes a lot of time and space energy. However, as he used his strength to nourish his eyes, the power of time and space consumed by this skill became less and less. There is no need to say more about taking things from time and space. Time travel. Use the power of time and space to travel to other time and space lines. He is not strong enough and can only fight once every half a month. And there is another problem, that is, if the other party is strong, he will be able to make a prediction. These few skills are not all, there will be more in the future, but I won't talk about them often. After school, Lin Qingjun came to Li Taibai's class. Li Bai's class is very interesting. There were no tables, chairs, or benches in the classroom. It was empty, but the walls were covered with sword marks of varying sizes. I'm really afraid that one day the house will collapse because it can't support itself. Li Bai and other students were either practicing sword skills or learning sword techniques in there. And their leaders are also very careful. And basically they won't teach students unless the students hit them with swords, then they will speak out and give some pointers. They can decide when to leave get out of class. You can download it whenever you want. The instructor basically doesn't care. Not long after, Li Bai came out to stretch his shins and said, "Oh, I don't know whether to laugh or cry when I have such a teacher after class." Lin Qingjun smiled and said, "Isn't this good?" The instructor doesn't care. I have so much freedom. Freedom is indeed freedom, but he doesn't talk about the theory of cultivation. He only has a few words for the strange beasts, the sharpening stone of my sword. Oh, you don't know how much this instructor has achieved in swordsmanship. I guess even better than my ancestor. Li Bai kept gesturing with his hands. Lin Qingjun laughed and said, "Isn't this the instructor you wanted to choose? Do you regret it?" On the way to the cafeteria, Li Bai suddenly asked, "Qing, today is the last day of the novice protection mechanism. There is no need to suppress the realm anymore." "Yes, indeed. Is there any change after breaking through to the cocoon solid state?" Lin Qingjun asked. "No, it's nothing more than the energy contained in the body increases, and the physical fitness becomes stronger." Li Bai shook his head and said, "But I heard that the real changes are after the Wuling realm." "Yeah." Lin Qingjun nodded thoughtfully. "By the way, after the breakthrough, how about we anonymously challenge the college rankings?" "Anonymous challenge? How can we be anonymous? How can we challenge? Can we who have just made a breakthrough beat those old hands?" Lin Qingjun was a little confused. According to common sense, a newcomer will never be able to beat a veteran. "You are useless." Li Bai slapped him on the back of his head. "You are an SSS-level genius. Are you afraid that you can't beat those idiots? You are not at the same level as them. SS level is being able to claim to be SS level and invincible in the same realm." Lin Qingjun kicked him on the buttocks and said, "IF ************ Gino, but I don't have any means of attack at all. I'm just assisting." Chapter 21. Let's play the two-player mode, Li Bai said helplessly. Lin Qingjun looked at Shitty next to him and said, "Two people? Yes, sure is a contracted spirit. I almost forgot. What the hell?" The two-player mode instantly turned into three people beating up two people. The two grown men looked at each other and then burst into strange laughter. The sound is unimaginable. Passers-by around them quickly moved away from these two mentally ill people. The two of them had a simple lunch and quickly returned to their respective rooms to make a breakthrough. Sit cross-legged and circulate the energy in your body, constantly flushing it. He had shown signs of breaking through several times before, but he suppressed them every time. And now it has once again broken through countless times in simplicity. Not long after, the energy emerged again. Lin Qingjun will also suppress it at this time, and use this opportunity to break out of the cage. He broke through with a bang, and his aura continued to rise until he broke through to the second level of the cocoon's solid realm. He opened his dark eyes and exhaled a breath of foul air. "Stand up, clench your fists," clicked the bones and flesh made noises. "Shuchong, you've actually broken through to the second level of the cocoon's solid realm. Isn't that too fast?" Lin Qingjun looked at Emperor Shi, who was meditating with his eyes closed. The latter opened his icy eyes and said, "It has been a long time since the accumulation of energy, and it has finally broken through. The foundation is solid, master. There is no need to think too much." "Haha, then I feel relieved." He reached out and rubbed Takedo's icy blue hair. The soft hair made Lin Qingjun not want to let go. Lord, how long are you going to touch me?" Shitty raised his head and asked. Lin Qingjun reacted and withdrew his hand. "Walk out of the door and wait at the place designated by Li Bai." Not long after, Li Bai came over. When he noticed Lin Qingjun's aura, he was shocked. "Damn, are you on drugs? How can you break through so fast?" Lin Qingjun smiled and said nothing. Li Bai took out a few masks and said, "Choose one. These masks are specially made by the school. They can conceal your aura. Wearing this will be an anonymous challenge." Lin Qingjun nodded and looked back and forth at the masks several times. Finally, it landed on a cyan mask. "I choose this one. It matches my temperament better." He picked up the mask and put it on his face. This mask is the upper half of the mask. The part below his nose was still exposed to the air. But this is a big change from his original appearance. It's basically impossible to tell that it's a single person. Lin Qingjun took out a mirror from somewhere and started looking at it. "Not bad, not bad. I'm still so handsome. Come on, you're just a good-looking guy, and you're still a far cry from me. Get lost. let's talk about when to start. The two put on their masks and walked in one direction. On the way, Lin Qingjun used kind words and various methods to make sure Dee turned into a cat, which he held in his arms. Then, under the guidance of Li Bai, they arrived in front of a large hall. Battle in the arena. Lin Qingjun looked at the huge plaque above, murmured, and walked in. Come to the work area. Li Bai smiled and said, we want to sign up for the two-player mode. It's our first time in the Cocoon realm. Please take care of us. The staff member nodded and replied with a smile. Okay, sir. Since you are participating in the competition anonymously, can you tell me your code name? Lin Qingjun stepped forward and said, Qing, Qing. You are so simple. My name is Bai Xian, and I will kill the enemy with one sword. And the name of our group is the group that wants to keep Qingbai in the world. Tisk, you're already a teenager, and you're still so childish. The lady at work was fussing for a while, and then she said, I have arranged the end for you. I wish you a good start. The two nodded and walked into the dual field of Cocoon Realm. Come to the viewing platform. When I first came here, I saw that this was a perfect victory. Li Bai found a place to sit down and said, do you want to place a bet later? Bet on our own victory? Do we have points? Yes, of course there is. Every new student will have 100 points after passing the 2-week protection mechanism. Hey, go wider and wider. Just when the game was about to start, someone shouted. This game has been locked. The bets for the Wangba group and the Big group have been locked. Next, the bets for the Qingbai and the World group and the Ponyo group will start now. Phew, ha 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 ha. For a time, the whole audience burst into laughter. If we want to keep Qingbai in the human group, those two talents are the ones who are so special. They won't watch that video every night, right? I guess so. I'll delete it after reading it once. What? You delete it after reading it once? Can you be like me? You basically never delete it? There are more than 100 gigabytes in a spare phone. F***K brother. No big brother. Please share. Gradually, the atmosphere of the whole place was distorted. Lin Qingjun punched Li Bai one after another. Wow, my glorious image has been ruined by you. Li Bai grabbed his hand and said, haha, your glorious image ended without even beginning? Do you blame me? Wow, I'm so tender to you. On the betting side, some people looked at the two groups and hesitated. The Ponyo group is a veteran of the Cocoon realm. Although they are very good, people who bet on them have basically never won. But Lu Qingbai is a new group in the world, and they are probably new. What? The freshmen can compete with the veterans. Even though the Ponyo team lost, I don't believe they can't even beat the freshmen. That's right. I'll vote for the Ponyo team too. Haha, it's not like you don't know the Ponyo team's experience of gambling and losing. I bet that I will keep Qingbai in the human team. There is also a small group of people betting on Lin Qingjun. Li Bai. Give one. We only need to keep Qingbai in the human group, 200 points. What? You only have 200 points. Get out of here. Why bet with so little? When someone saw someone betting 200 points, they kicked him away. Li Bai looked confused until he was kicked out of the crowd. After a while, many people dispersed, and Li Bai finally squeezed in and successfully placed his bet. Li Bai exhaled and said, finally the bet was successful. Lin Qingjun asked, what is our ratio? Li Bai replied, the ratio is 2-1, which is very low. Well, what's going on? What's going on? Didn't you listen to what they said? The people who voted for the Ponyo group basically lost, and we are considered freshmen, so naturally we are lower. What a good guy, what a good guy. Chapter 22. Look inside the competition venue. The four men scuffled with each other. The four people are equally strong, so it is difficult to quickly determine the winner. I say, how long will this fight last? Li Bai was speechless. Lin Qingjun stroked his chin and said, you said, should I add some ingredients to them so that the winner can be decided quickly? How do you want to do it? Li Bai turned around and looked at him, obviously a little unconvinced. Lin Qingjun smiled and said, I have mastered the ability of time and space, so I can still do some small tricks. After saying that, he raised his foot and kicked forward. At the same time, the power of time and space is activated. Then, a member of Wang Ba's group flew backwards out of nowhere. The large group on the opposite side was stunned for a moment. Then after they reacted, they quickly bent over and eliminated them. The other person from Wang Ba's group was stunned, but when he came to his senses, he had already been eliminated. Then he looked at his teammates fiercely and shouted angrily, you be asterisk 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 D. You sold me out? Were you bribed by the other team? His teammates were still confused. When he came to his senses, He pushed his teammates away and shouted, "I'm buying your mother. I invested half of my fortune. Don't you know?" The farce was over, and it was Lin Qingjun and the other man's turn to take the stage. Walking down the corridor leading to the competition venue, Li Taibai gave Lin Qingjun a thumbs up and said, "If you hadn't shown me, I wouldn't have known that there was such a cool operation in time and space. It's like a space power." Lin Qingjun waved his hand and said, "Haha, sorry for making fun of me. I didn't know it at first, but recently someone told me about some basic laws of time and space. I learned that time and space are a combination of time and space. There are great similarities and also great differences, but without exception, they are all supreme laws. Come to the competition venue and wait for the arrival of Ponyo's group." Lin Qingjun raised his head and looked around. Countless eyes in the audience seats around him were staring at him. It made him feel instinctively uncomfortable. "Tiske, I hate the feeling of being watched." Li Taibai turned his head and looked over, smiled and said, "Now that you are wearing a mask and calling yourself Qing, you can completely ignore these gazes." Lin Qingjun was stunned, then suddenly laughed. He thought of a sentence from the previous world and said, "What I, Qing, do has nothing to do with me, Lin Qingjun." He lowered his head and scratched Shitty's hairy chin. Sure D was enjoying it at first, but suddenly woke up, opened his little mouth with sharp teeth, and bit Lin Qingjun's finger with a meow. At this time, members of Ponyo's group also came to the competition venue. The visitors were two ordinary-looking women, and you could tell they were idiots by looking at their second-generation rich looks. "My name is Shanu," said a slightly fat woman. A very tall girl said, "My name is Ho Erbwa, two handsome guys. Please tell me your names, hee. It's been a while since I've matched two such handsome guys. Even though they're wearing masks, they should look pretty good underneath the masks." Listening to the words of the two female students, Lin Qingjun and Li Taibai looked at each other. The former took a step forward and said, "Qing?" Li Taibai raised his hand, and a blue sword suddenly appeared in his hand. As his hand waved, a sword energy shot out. "White fairy." Lin Qingjun came up to him and whispered, "Isn't your sword blue and red? How did it turn blue?" "You're talking nonsense. Of course I changed the color. What's the point of wearing a mask when I can use a blue and red sword?" "That's right." The two women opposite laughed strangely for a long time before stopping. Shanu said, "Two little brothers, do you want to take off your masks?" Before she finished speaking, Shurdi immediately conveyed his thoughts to Lin Qingjun. "Lord, retreat quickly." Lin Qingjun reacted immediately and kicked Li Taibai away, and he jumped aside. Just as he jumped, a big black rat, no, a ball hit him. Fortunately, the two of them left the place where they were just now, otherwise they would have been knocked away. "You kicked me. Oh my God. You kicked me well." As soon as Li Bai turned his head, he saw a black ball hitting him. It almost got scratched. Then the huge black ball hit the wall with a bang. The dust on the ground jumped. When they looked closely, they saw that the ball was actually a deformed one of Shanu. No, it should be the effect brought by Shanu's contracted spirit. A tail appeared on Shanu's mouth. "Lord, don't be careless on the battlefield." Emperor Shi conveyed his thoughts to Lin Qingjun. The latter nodded. He thought he would shout "Start," but he didn't expect that he would start right away. The pupils in the mask gradually turned light blue. Crystal Eye of Space and Time. Lin Qingjun gave these eyes a simple name. He has been practicing this eye for 2 weeks. It cannot be said that he has gotten started, but he can only say that he has seen the threshold. The time and space crystal eyes are also divided into grades. His light blue ones are the lowest grade, while the Time Emperor's icy soul-colored eyes are the highest grade. Lin Qingjun stood up, and the power of time and space gathered in his eyes, allowing him to observe the brief future or go back. A female student with very thick legs and who was very short came to Shanu, raised one of her thick legs and kicked Shanu, then rushed towards the two of them. Sure enough, there appeared a very short female student with very thick legs next to Shanu. And this female student was Ho Erbwa. "My God, these big thick legs are as big as an elephant," Li Bai said in a panic. "Stop nagging me. Hurry up and hide. He's about to shoot." After Lin Qingjun finished speaking, he started running. But he didn't run far before rushing to the side. Then a big black ball shot over and flew past Lin Qingjun's hair. "Oh my God!" Lin Qingjun got up from the ground and shouted, "Bai Xian, hurry up and hit the black ball to the right. Over there." Li Bai held the sword with both hands and poured all the energy in his body into it. "Your sword hand. I'm left-handed." Bang! Before he could finish his words, Ho Erbwa appeared next to Shanu and kicked towards Li Bai. When Li Bai saw a black ball several meters long coming towards him, he did not dodge but injected 2/3 of his energy into the sword. Suddenly, a faint light appeared on the phoenix. Cut! Li Bai shouted loudly and slashed at the big black ball with his sword. Bang! In an instant, the ball and the sword collided. Not surprisingly, Li Bai would be knocked out. As expected, Li Bai screamed and flew backwards. The phoenix fell to the ground with a clanging sound, and the Shanu ball was also hit and flew into the sky. Oh my goodness, Lao Bai is so awesome. He just broke through to the cocoon's solid state, and he can fight with the old hand. Lin Qingjun couldn't help but admire Li Bai's awesomeness. If it were him, he would have no choice but to run away. Chapter 23. But it's not right. The Ponyo team is quite strong. Why is it defined as a 100% failure? Boom. Just as Lin Qingjun was thinking, his spirit was suddenly shaken. He immediately ran to the side, because a figure appeared next to Shanu Ball in the sky at some point. Ho-Erbwa jumped 4 or 5 meters into the air and kicked Lin Qingjun. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, Shanu's ball smashed towards Lin Qingjun with a series of sounds of breaking through the air. The latter stopped while running, then stepped back step by step. Boom. Just when he took a few steps back, the ball hit him 2 steps ahead. It almost hit Lin Qingjun. The whole audience was in an uproar. Oh my god, is this prediction? Or foresight? If he keeps running or stops, he will definitely be hit. He actually thought of retreating. He's so flirty. Your dad loves it. Below, Li Bai, who had just picked up the sword, was also stunned. Oh my god, is the ability to have space and time so awesome? The G ability to have time isn't that awesome. Lin Qingjun's light blue eyes flickered a few times and then returned to normal. Because Shanu in front swayed left and right, and then the long tail in her mouth suddenly straightened out, continuously exhaling. Not long after, a sphere several meters in size instantly disappeared and returned to its original size. Then a balloon-shaped creature crawled out of his mouth, staggered, and fell to the ground. Not far away, Ho-Erbwa said unenthusiastically, "Oh, we lost again." After he finished speaking, a large amount of steam came out from his feet, and then 2 pieces of iron with special shapes were squeezed out. When Lin Qingjun saw this, the corners of his mouth twitched. Good boy, the 3-second girl, no, the 3-move girl. No wonder she is considered a 100% loser. It would be strange if she didn't lose. So, we both won? Li Bai walked over and said in disbelief. The winner must stay in the human group. As the voice fell, Lin Qingjun and the other person looked at each other, and the corners of the lower half of their faces curled up, obviously showing happiness. But compared to Lin Qingjun, Li Bai was not as excited. Wow, Lao Bai, with a ratio of 2 to 1, we can double our output? Lin Qingjun put his arm around Li Bai's shoulders and walked towards the exit. Li Bai was speechless and said, "Why are you so excited? 2 to 1, 100 is only 200. It won't take us a few days. TSK, can't you make me happy for a while?" The two received their points and headed towards the residential area. Those 2 guys really hurt me so badly. My body still hurts a little bit, Li Bai said with gritted teeth. Lin Qingjun stroked the soft and lush hair of the Emperor of Time and said, "In fact, I have a skill that can restore your body to its peak state, but it will consume all my time and space power." Roar. Li Bai's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he said, come on, hit me in the face, I can take it." "Okay, that's what you said." While Lin Qingjun was performing his skills, he punched Li Bai directly in the face. Li Bai fell to the ground, then stood up and looked at his hands and said, "Oh my god, I'm actually back to health. My face just hurts a little. I regret saying that." Lin Qingjun shrugged and walked forward whistling. He ordered the fight. "It's none of my business." The 2 walked for a distance and then separated at a fork in the road. When I was about to reach the fence next to my house, I suddenly found someone knocking on my door. Suddenly, a surge of anger rushed to his head, and he ran while shouting, "Who are you? Are you trying to steal my house? Do you believe that I will kill you?" The 3 people knocking on the door stopped and turned around. 2 of these 3 people were the same 2 people who knocked on the door for no reason and asked Lin Qingjun to leave 2 weeks ago. Their names are Zhao Fei and Ma Hua. Zhao Fei crossed his arms and said with a smile, "Hey, why are you here? I thought you had moved away. Why haven't you moved away yet?" Ma Hua laughed and said, "Kid, I advise you to get out of here. This is the house that my brother Zhang Ningyu has set his eyes on." As he said this, He moved sideways to make way for one person. A man with a sunny look stood there, looking at Lin Qingjun calmly. Go away, go away. I, Brother Zhang, don't want to argue with a freshman like you, lest I suffer physical pain. Ma Hua waved his hands impatiently. Lin Qingjun clenched his fists and was about to rush over to fight with them. The sound of chains could be heard beside him. Then, several chains whipped towards Zhao Fei and Ma Hua. The two were knocked to the ground before they could react. Then the chains continued to whip the two of them. Every blow can cause skin and flesh to be torn. When Lin Qingjun saw this, his arrogance immediately disappeared. I turned around and was almost scared, because the face of Emperor Shi was already extremely cold, and dozens of necklaces were waving behind him. The power is terrifying. Not far away, Brother Zhang Ningyu already had an extremely cold expression on his face. The two people on the ground were beaten and screamed, and the contracted spirit that had just been summoned was also beaten. Zhao Fei howled, Brother Zhang, save me why don't you two stop? Zhang Ningyu took a step forward and shouted. The mark of the contract on the back of his hand flashed, and a huge bird nearly 15 meters long flew over his head. The big bird is blue and red. Its tail is not feathers but a long and thick tail, and its head is extremely ugly. The Emperor Shi took a step forward and said indifferently with infinite murderous intent, You deserve to die for entering my territory. She looked at Lin Qingjun again and said, Master, just kill him directly. In the past, any living creature that approached her territory would be instantly killed. Lin Qingjun shook his head, raised his hand and said, This is the order of human society. We can't do anything wrong. Now he has calmed down and has a plan to deal with him. Just keep beating the two of them, as long as they are not disabled. Emperor Shi didn't quite understand what he said, but he still did as he was told. Just as they were about to take action, Ma Hua and the other man began to howl. Brother Zhang, stop them quickly. Yes, Brother Zhang. Teach them a lesson. Zhang Ningyu took a step forward and said, Stop. You have to look at the owner before beating a dog. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Hey, how can you be so rude? Are you going to do it directly or rely on your two shitty followers? Lin Qingjun raised his chin and tilted his head back, imitating the Emperor Shi's example. You. Zhang Ningyu pointed at Lin Qingjun's nose but couldn't say a word. Because the only rules in the academy clearly state that one cannot attack students who are 2 levels lower than oneself. He was in the state of breaking solidity, while Lin Qingjun was in the state of cocooning solidity. You can't do it at all. Kid. Just wait for me. When you get to Hogyoku, I'll make you lie down and leave the west courtyard. Zhang Ningyu waved his hand and brought back the big bird in the sky. He came to Lin Qingjun and said, I don't believe you are like those cowards, never breaking through and always stuck in the cocoon state. Humph. Chapter 24. Lin Qingjun was stunned, and then suddenly shocked. Only then did he understand why he was still stuck in the cocoon state after studying in the academy for 1 or 2 years. According to common sense, even the dumbest people should be able to break through, but they are like the diamond stuck on the gear, unable to move. The real reason is that they are afraid of strong enemies and dare not break through. The academy stipulates that if there is a large realm difference between 2 people, the one with the higher realm cannot attack the one with the lower realm. Humph, do you think I'm afraid of you? Let's wait and see. After Lin Qingjun finished speaking, he took Shi back to the house. My brother will be back soon. Why should I be afraid of him? Zhang Ningyu snorted coldly, waved his hand, and turned away. He can afford to live in such a luxurious residence. He must be the most talented among the freshmen. Indeed. But so what? Won't you still have to beg for mercy for my brother Zhang? Zhao Fei and Ma Hua were both flattering Zhang Ningyu in unison. Zhang Ningyu raised his head, looking extremely proud. Lord, why don't you kill them? They dared to invade my territory. They are simply unforgivable. Shi sat on the sofa with an angry look on his face, and the chains behind him kept waving. Lin Qingjun smiled awkwardly and said, The academy has clear regulations that we cannot kill people. If we kill someone, the consequences will be disastrous, and we cannot afford the consequences. Shi snorted and turned his head away. Humans are such a messy race. They accommodate all kinds of messy things. Haha, you know that we humans are like this. I said this because I know it. It's extremely confusing. Yes, we are not as good as you, the space-time giant beasts. So, what kind of race are you? Lin Qingjun asked curiously. He had seen 3 other races now. Humans, alien beasts, and giant beasts of time and space. Upon hearing this, Emperor Shi raised his chin and said, My race is the strongest among all races, because we are born with the ability to freely control the laws of time and space. But there are also flaws. We must protect the smooth progress of the order of time and space. It is very boring and tiring. So you ran away, and then your eldest sister pinned you down in that palace to reflect on your actions? Lin Qingjun narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, "Wow, I want to fight the Lord to the death." The usually calm and composed Emperor was immediately defeated. Stop, stop, stop. It took a long time before Lin Qingjun managed to calm down Emperor. You said that you are very tired of protecting the order of time and space. Are you controlled by someone? For example, the heavenly Tao or something like that? The emperor crossed his arms, raised his head and said, "The way of heaven is also under the management of my clan." Oh, so cool. Then who will take care of you? Hearing this, Shurdi's pair of pretty little hands made a clicking sound. My big sister. Lin Qingjun curled his lips. This was really miserable. He felt in his pocket, took out a dessert, waved it in front of Shidi, and asked, "Do you want to eat it?" Shidi's eyes lit up and he nodded. Lin Qingjun gave her the dessert, thought for a moment and said, "Do you still want to protect time and space now? Will you take me with you?" Shurdi ate his dessert in small bites and said, "No, although I don't know the circumstances, I feel that it must be because of the contract that I was able to escape from that boring life." The next day, Lin Qingjun was on his way to the classroom. Suddenly, he saw several people surrounding and beating a man in the corner in front of him. Looking closely, I suddenly saw a familiar person, Li Feng. But he was not the one being attacked, but the attacker. Li Feng and several old students beat up a freshman. He looked quite excited. This reminded him of his days in college, when Li Feng was a gangster who hung out near the school. They would surround Lin Qingjun from time to time. He thought of Li Feng's apologetic attitude after the contract ceremony. Looking at his attitude when beating the students today, it can be said that he was saying one thing in front of another. He shrugged, turned and left. Suddenly, one of the people turned around and saw Lin Qingjun at the intersection. "Someone is peeping. Stop him," one of them yelled. Then the group of people suddenly turned around and ran towards Lin Qingjun, surrounding him. Lin Qingjun looked around and couldn't help but frown. "I said you have sharp eyes. I saw it just as I walked over." "Hee, kid, tell me, what did you see?" A sturdy man walked over with his arms folded across his chest and a grim smile on his face. Lin Qingjun smiled and said, "You guys are making so much noise that it's hard not to see it. Besides, the academy doesn't have any rules against beating up students. Keep going. I have something else to do, so I won't bother with you anymore." The academy doesn't have any rules, but it's a bad influence anyway, so please shut up. The sturdy man put one hand on his shoulder and exerted a little force. "I don't want to get involved in your affairs, and I won't tell anyone unless they ask me. Please take your hand away," Lin Qingjun said in a deep voice. The sturdy man nodded and withdrew his hand. "Boss, look, there's a pretty girl next to this guy. Do you want to tie her up?" A student pointed at Shurdi and smiled evilly. Lin Qingjun raised his head, hugged Shidi into his arms and said, "Her father, why don't you try to touch her?" "Hey boy, you are quite cool." A student rolled up his sleeves and said. Just at this moment, 4 figures walked out from the corner. Coincidentally, these 4 people happened to be Wen Ida and his 3 companions. Luo Penghao pointed to the front and said, "Look, isn't that Lao Lin? Why is he surrounded? Why do you care how he was surrounded? Just go and help him." Yu Yunlong ran over, stretching his muscles. The 4 of them came to Lin Qingjun and Qian Hongjie said, "Why do you think he's easy to bully? To tell you the truth, I just broke through the cocoon state last night. I'm not afraid of you." Lin Qingjun turned around and said, "There are 2 people. Qian Hongjie scratched his head when he heard this. "Oh, sorry, don't just look at the 2 of them. There are 4 of us." A younger brother looked around and whispered in the ear of the strong man, "What should we do, boss? What's wrong with 6 people? Are we 10 afraid of them? Go ahead." Ahem. When the sturdy man raised his hand and was about to give an order, a cough was heard beside him. Several people turned their heads and saw that Zhong Feng appeared over there without them noticing. Zhong Feng came in front of those people, looked at the group of strong men and said, "Do you still look like students? Students, you are students, not hooligans. Guide, mentor." The sturdy man smiled awkwardly. Snort. Zhong Feng snorted coldly and saw Li Feng in the crowd. He frowned and asked, "Aren't you Lao Xiang's student? Why are you hanging out with this group of people?" Li Feng said bitterly, "That mentor, I was forced." "Bullshit, that's a cliched excuse. Get out of here." Zhong Feng waved his hand and the group of people dispersed immediately. Chapter 25. After they left, Lin Qingjun pointed at Zhong Feng's nose and said, "Wow, teacher, why are you here? Do you know that your unauthorized appearance caused someone to write less words and created an awkward plot?" Zhong Feng slapped his hand away, put the watch on his wrist in front of Lin Qingjun's eyes, and said, "Look, what time is it? 8:30. 8:30. I am standing here alone. I have been waiting for you on the podium for half an hour. I have never been so speechless." Lin Qingjun and others scratched their heads and smiled embarrassedly. Let's go, let's go." When passing by the man who had just been beaten, Lin Qingjun looked at him. Suddenly I realized that this person was Wen Tu, Li Feng's follower. Wen Tuesday teacher. Will this person die? It's so tragic. When Ida frowned and said, Zhong Feng waved his hand and said, "The academy has a rule that we won't take action until the students are disabled." Then what did you do just now, mentor? I told you to hurry up and go to class. If you don't come to class, I will punish you. Wow, teacher, are you afraid of punishment? Return to the classroom. Zhong Feng stood on the podium and said, "We have to quickly popularize knowledge about exotic animals in the next few days. In 3 or 4 weeks, it will be a little koala." Teacher, what is the content of the quiz? Yu Yunlong asked. Zhong Feng nodded and said, "I will put you in a fixed area outside the city to hunt a strange beast." What? Teacher, you are not kidding. I heard it is very dangerous outside the city. Qian Hongjie shuddered and said with some fear, Aya, what are you afraid of? It's said to be a fixed area. There won't be anyone much stronger than you. Zhong Feng knocked on the table and began to talk about the knowledge about strange beasts. Soon the day's classes were over. Lin Qingjun stretched his muscles with the 4 people and said, "Did anyone try to rob your house yesterday?" Luo Penghao shook his head and said, "My house is a bit ugly, so they didn't like it. My house is in a bad location, and I didn't like it." Me too, they didn't like it. The rest of the people all expressed that their methods were not appreciated. This means that he is the only one in the class who has encountered this trouble. Lin Qingjun curled his lips. These people are quite picky. When he walked out of the classroom, he found Li Bai waiting for him. Li Taibai asked, "Are you still going to play on the field?" "Of course I have to go. I have to leave the city in a few weeks. Should I practice more?" "That's right. By the way, did anyone knock on your door and force you to move out yesterday?" Li Taibai asked. Lin Qingjun was stunned and said, "From what you said, it seems that you have also encountered it?" "I encountered it yesterday, but I chased them away. They even said harsh words before they ran away, which was quite speechless. How could there be such a thing? Such a person?" "Yes, I did, but I was scared away by my family." Li Taibai scratched his head and said, "As for why there are such people, it's because the West Campus is like this. The competition is quite fierce. We freshmen are not so bad. One thing, in the early stage, we will be given resources regularly, but when our level reaches the 3rd stage of the solidification realm, the academy will no longer give us resources for free, and we need to earn them ourselves." Lin Qingjun spent the next few weeks like this. During this period, the two encountered strong enemies and failed. But as time goes by, the two of them have grown in sync with each other and gradually become invincible in the cocoon realm. At the same time, the two of them also gained considerable fame in the Jingu realm competition arena. After finishing this game, Lin Qingjun and the other man left the competition venue. I can feel myself about a breakthrough. I'm about to reach the 3rd stage of the cocoon state. Li Bai stretched lazily and said. Lin Qingjun nodded. The 3rd level of the cocoon realm. I have a feeling that I can break through tonight. Damn, you've made such a quick breakthrough. Aren't you afraid that your foundation will be unstable? No. Actually, I could have made a breakthrough last week, but I kept suppressing myself. I waited for a few more games to make a breakthrough, and it will be almost there tonight. He shook his head and said, "Come on. Is this the power of an SSS-level contract spirit?" After returning to his residence, Lin Qingjun began to prepare for the breakthrough. Sitting on the sofa, he nodded to Shi Di sitting opposite him. Shi Di did not hesitate and directly began to absorb the tremendous energy in the Dragon Ball. As time went by, Lin Qingjun could clearly feel that he was gaining more and more control over the energy, and at the same time, he was gathering the excess power towards his eyes. When practicing the space-time crystal eye, your consciousness will be pulled to your own body on a different space-time line. When he opened his eyes, he found himself standing on a battlefield filled with smoke. When he came to his senses, a bullet hit one of his arms and exploded directly. Ow, that hurts. Lin Qingjun knelt in the pit, holding his arms and howling. Why the hell are you howling? Do you have any future? At this time, a squad leader holding a pistol came up, stepped on his shoulder, and kicked him backwards. Lin Qingjun hugged his arms with a distorted face. The team leader smiled when he saw this and said, "Oh, you didn't cry. That's good. A real man should shed blood but not tears. Pick up your gun and keep shooting." Lin Qingjun looked down at the gun beside him and shook his head. "Captain, I don't dare. I don't dare. I'm afraid. I regret it now." Bang! The team leader raised his foot and kicked him away. He pointed the pistol in his hand at Lin Qingjun and shouted, "This is my last order. Pick up the gun and shoot." Lin Qingjun shuddered, gritted his teeth, endured the pain in his arm, and picked up the gun. But when he stood up, there was the sound of a bullet hitting flesh. Lin Qingjun was stunned, because the team leader in front of him had a hole in his head and fell straight back. Wow! Lin Qingjun dropped the gun to the ground and howled, holding his head. In his previous world, he was just a social animal working in a milk tea shop. Where has such a blow been dealt to you? Get up, pick up your gun and shoot. His teammates grabbed his arm and pulled it. Lin Qingjun shook his head frantically, mumbling, "No, no, I'm scared. Bang! His teammate kicked him to the ground, picked up the gun, stuffed it into his arms, and forcibly pulled him up. With bloodshot eyes, he pointed at the other side and shouted, "Fight!" Lin Qingjun was stunned, nodded, and fired his gun forward. Bang! At this moment, the comrade next to him was shot in the neck. His neck exploded and blood and flesh splattered on Lin Qingjun's face. The latter's body trembled. An extreme feeling of nausea and vomiting came over me. He vomited to the side with a wow sound. But this time he didn't shout in fear. He picked up the gun and continued shooting. Not long after, 2 bullets hit his head and chest, and he died instantly. Lin Qingjun took a deep breath and woke up suddenly. At this moment, he was drenched in sweat and panting like a cow. He ran to the trash can next to him and vomited. Ugh, damn it. How could I have such a dream? He kept stroking his chest and said, "Also, the me in that time and space line was too lame. If it were me, I would just stand up and rush out." Although he was saying harsh words, his eyes were trembling and he was obviously afraid. If someone who has never been to a battlefield or seen a head exploding suddenly encounters it in an instant, anyone would vomit. "Lord, which time and space line did you enter? Why are you so embarrassed?" Shirdi walked over and asked in confusion. Lin Qingjun waved his hand and said, "On the battlefield, 2 people were killed in front of me. It's just disgusting.